What's up, everybody? Welcome to Xbox Nation, the best podcast on Wednesdays. Yes, I was the originator of that saying, so fuck all you guys who say it now. The goddamn best podcast, the most entertaining podcast, and we rock off with our socks off and something like that.
Okay, well, see, I was the first one to say that one, so you want to...
Oh, okay, well,
we'll fuck you, Crapgamer.
Good job, She-Wolf, good job. And that'll probably be the only time She-Wolf chimes in tonight because we're going to be talking about some hardware, so
triggered.
Yeah, we'll give her a little round of applause for that. Good job, She-Wolf.
Wow.
You got soon enough. Zinger in on us. You know what you could do? You could probably play Alice Madness Returns while we while we're talking. So yeah. But anyway,
I just may.
I'm gonna go ahead and introduce everybody. We got the governor here, GKB. What's up, bro?
What's up, man? Great to be on Xbox Nation. Talk some hardware, and more hardware. It's gonna be fantastic, man.
Oh hell yeah, man! It is gonna be fun. I heard you were like a kid in a candy store yesterday because I hooked you up with some documents, but we'll talk about that.
Was actually pretty fun.
Yeah, and we have She-Wolf. What's up? How you doing?
I'm not a kid in a candy store when I saw you. He's sitting there and he's talking to me and he's telling me
about this.
I'm like, oh, yeah, and in the back of my head I'm going, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, She-Wolf goes, he's so excited about this stuff, and I was like, good, and I was like, you're probably asleep, but yeah. I mean, I said feel free to read it yourself. You know,
yeah,
I don't think she did.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not going to attempt to try to figure something out that I know nothing about. So
hey, don't feel bad. I was like reading it, and then I'm like, Hellhammer.
What does this mean? Too much big words.
I was like, what's this mean? And what's this mean? And then he's like, well, this means this and this. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, what's this mean? Well, it means this. Is that good? Yeah, it'd be pretty good if that were the case, you know. Then yeah. So basically, that's how that went. Speaking of hell.
Should have held it till the end of this show.
I should have, but he would have never jumped in. Like if he would have known how to work it, he would have jumped in. What's up, Hellhammer?
Not much. Just got done playing some Watch Dogs 2. Pretty excited to talk about some of this hardware here.
Hell yeah, you sound excited, dude. Not really, but
oh yeah.
Like I amped it up for the show, man. I was all like, "What's up, guys?" in the pre-show, and then
Hellhammer's only got one octave, bro. It's just that
he doesn't have an inside voice. He's like, "What's going on, guys? How you doing? I'm Hellhammer. I like Metallica. Watch Dogs 2. I got more gamer score than you. I'm gonna troll you, man. Xbox done." He was telling me all that shit today. I reversed it on him though because I was talking about them taking away the snap mode. Oh yeah, it's so much better. I was like, but they take away all the things that made it, different. And he's like, no, it's much better, blah blah blah. And I was all like, Xbox done, and he was all the one doing that. So I reversed that shit on him today. So yeah,
nice.
And we also got the newest member, just in case you guys didn't know. What's up, dude?
You're botting.
I'm not botting.
You're botting.
Is that just him, or is my shit going out?
That's what I'm saying.
It's crap.
Okay, it's crap. Fuck you, crap. What the fuck? It's good to join the podcast again. By the way, apparently the best fucking podcast on Wednesdays. I just heard that. And it's good to be back, guys. Welcome back to the chat. Yes, RE7 is a lot of fun so far. A lot of people are mentioning in the comments. Good game so far.
Yeah. Is my mic fixed?
Yep.
Maybe.
Okay, good. Maybe.
Until it starts botting again. You start sounding like people on the PS3.
Oh. Yeah, I mean that wouldn't be good. But yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Live from PSN. Yeah.
That used to be the funniest thing. Like I used to run a clan that had PS3 gamers as well, but they were like the second-class citizens, and so I would hardly ever get on there and run practices or matches with them. I'd like just assign people to lead it, and then whenever I did get on, I would just like make fun of how bad the voice chat was. Like, did you want fries with that? Whenever they talk, and it would get like annoyed and stuff. Plus, like the PS3 gamers, especially on Call of Duty at that time, just absolutely terrible. Like even me, I would have like over a 2-0 kill death and just smack people around. We didn't even need to look for scrub teams to play PS3. We just play against anybody, just smack them around. It was funny. I mean, it got so bad that we were positive KD with classes that we set up just to bayonet people in Call of Duty World at War. Like that's all we did.
Your TVs off the whole time when you were playing.
Well, I mean, not that bad, but what we did was we created alternate accounts because PSN was free, so we all had like 7 or 8 accounts, and so we created these classes just to bayonet people, Juggernaut, and then you just go running after people. We'd get kill streaks like that. It was the most ridiculous thing ever, and people used to get at it, but it's so fun. I even have on, I think, one of the accounts a montage. I used to do these really lame montages, and I have a montage of me bayonet killing people, and it was pretty interesting. So, but yeah, so anyway, welcome to the show, everyone. What's cool is I got sent a dump of Xbox Scorpio stuff, including the white document that that they were talking about on Digital Foundry, and I sent it to everybody in the podcast so they all have seen it. Also, I got sent the roadmap to Xbox Scorpio, which is really cool and has some interesting stuff in there as well. So I don't think there's a lot of people that have that, and that'll be interesting because I sent it to everybody here as well, and it'll be cool to talk about that. And we're going to talk about all that stuff a little bit later, after people kind of filter in and stuff like that. But first off, I want to talk about the games with gold for February, which got announced. It's Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time, Project Cars 2, and Force Unleashed. Project Cars and Monkey Island 2 are cool. I don't have those. I don't really care about Lovers.
Games. I actually almost bought Project Cars a couple times during the big sale, and I was like, nah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really a good thing you didn't, man. It's really a good thing you didn't.
Here's my problem with that. Like, it's a simulation racer, and most of the simulation racers that I've played have been really awful. They handle terribly, and so that was my problem with. Like, if I buy this, it's gonna probably handle like shit because I'm comparing it to Forza, which handles like a dream. Like when you play Gran Turismo or Assetto Corsa or one of those games, like they handle like absolute garbage compared to Forza. So
I saw your review on Assetto Corsa actually, and I can tell you that Project Cars handles kind of similar to Assetto Corsa, where there's no real sense of weight. The cars just transition unrealistically fast with almost zero weight. The tires have no flex. The cars are super twitchy. And I want a real great competitor on all platforms for racing because it's only made Turn 10 better. Since Project Cars has even hit the console, they're already developing features that Project Cars has, like dynamic weather and things that they didn't have before, right? Like competition's great. But in terms of physics and tire modeling and all that stuff, the Project Cars is not even close to Forza, in my opinion, either. And you guys know I'm a big Forza dude. So I've actually reviewed that game on my channel as well.
Well, that's why I said that. I think, truthfully, they're actually giving it with Games with Gold probably because they want to, they're supposed to be releasing Project Cars 2 in the fall, which is obviously going up against Gran Turismo, and it's also going up against Forza Motorsports. So I just think that they're trying to get it into as many hands as they possibly can so that people can give this game possibly a try before releasing the second one, hoping that it'll actually have a better chance.
Could be, and I mean, it's got fans, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying don't play it, right? Try it, see if it's up your alley, but in my opinion, it's just not where it needs to be. But yeah, you're right. Project Cars 2.
I mean, it's hard to compete against what Forza has to offer, though. To be honest,
no, Forza's the only game that does what it does. Take any car, upgrade it, do all these customizations to it, and that could improve as well. Hopefully, they do that. But there's no other game with simulation type handling and a real world high refresh physics system like Forza has that you can do all of this stuff too. Right, so it's kind of in a league of its own, quite literally. There's a reason reviewers call it like the Forza physics. Like that's the thing they point out when they play the game because it's just unrivaled.
Well, if you weren't the top in the industry, people wouldn't say this could be the Forza killer. I mean, that's never happened yet. But everything supposedly is the Forza killer. And it was funny because I remember playing like Gran Turismo 5 and 6 on the PS3, and they handle so bad, like you can't even play it. I played Drive Club for longer than that, but with that, it just seems like they don't turn right. Like those, I don't know, some of those car games they don't turn right. There's no weight. You can't really feel it. It's just like almost like you're on a track. And
not to mention the buttons on the PS3 controller are all digital, right? So when you pull that trigger to accelerate, but first, here's how you know it's not a real sim racer because by default, acceleration is X, which would be A on the Xbox controller. How does that make sense? Right?
Yeah.
And if you switch it to trigger, then that's a digital trigger. It's not analog. There's a reason Xbox still uses analog triggers because it's pressure sensitive, just like a real gas pedal. Well, Gran Turismo, you have no real throttle control, nor do you need it because the cars are just stuck to the road constantly anyway. So even Polyphony, no, it's not a real sim racer. That's the way they set up the throttle mapping. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It is weird because I'll tell you this one thing. One thing I really like about the Xbox controllers are the fact that they're like that way, you know, because if you get the trigger locks on some games, you can't use them. You know what I mean? You're like I was playing Battlefield 1 and I was trying to snipe and I couldn't snipe because I had trigger locks on. I'm like, what? My guy won't shoot the gun. I was like, he won't shoot the gun. I'm like sitting there yelling at people. I'm like, he won't shoot the gun. He won't fucking shoot the gun. What do I do? And I was like, does this gun work? And they're like, it works. You just got to aim it and shoot it. I'm like, he won't even pull it up. He won't do anything. He's running around.
Aim that thing and pull the trigger.
Everybody was saying, and I was like, well, maybe it's a glitch. I spawn back in. Nope, won't work. So then, you know, eventually I figured out, I got the trigger locks. But you figured trigger locks would work on a first-person shooter, but I guess they didn't.
Maybe it's just
GKB. No, yeah, it's weird. GKB, you're like a sim racing fan. I know you like Assetto Corsa on PC because you've got like that kick-ass setup. But what is your thoughts? Have you played Project Cars? Interested in it?
I play Project Cars and I played Assetto Corsa. I play them mostly on the PC because they don't transfer well to the console, and that's why I really didn't like them on the console. I thought they were terrible as well. But on PC, it's much different. Like you can do a lot more of the physics stuff and really get it dialed in if you have like that, you know, crazy simulator type kind of thing. But I agree. Like Forza, I think is just the better racer all around. It does a lot of things. I like Forza Horizon 3, but I'm always like the Forza Motorsport guy because I just like the full on simulator stuff. So
yeah, you know, I like them both. Like here's the thing. I remember like the haters would always be like, there's no dynamic weather in Forza Motorsport. And I'm thinking these matches or whatever you want to call them, that you're going like 5-7 laps. Like, is there really going to be dynamic weather in that like, in that like 10-minute range? You know what I mean? Like here we are, it's the morning time. And then after 10 minutes, it's nighttime or raining. You know, like that never made sense to me. Like I didn't care about the dynamic weather or anything like that.
On the Florida courses, that could very well be true.
Oh yeah, they can.
Yeah, I mean,
sprinkle for a second and come back.
But I
Even though
mean,
it's not realistic, I think they should still have it though. Their competitor has it. That is one cool thing about Project Cars. And I played those both on PC, Assetto Corsa and Project Cars as well. And the physics are exactly the same to me. And from what I've read, they're exactly the same 1-to-1. It's just a setup with if you have the wheel, it's a little more customizable. But with Project Cars, you can literally decide if you want fog or rain to come in. Like it's kind of part of an experience that you might watch on TV. And racing guys are really hardcore. So you know, Forza should have something like that as well. But the biggest problem with 6 to me was those wet lobbies, man. 24 people, wet lobbies. These idiots can't stay on the road as it is in dry lobbies. It's completely unraceable in rain lobbies with 24 people. It's nuts, man. So that was the biggest downfall.
And the racing fans, there is that hardcore contingent. And like I said, I always tell people that complain, there's a Forza every year. I'm like, but look, it's not the same one every year. You know, you get a Motorsport every other year, and then you get a Horizon every other year. That's perfect because some people just like the Horizon, some people like the Motorsport, some people like both. So I look forward to those every single year. And so for me, that's what it is. But up to when I play other games, I played some arcade racers like Dirt and stuff that were pretty good. But as far as like the simulation stuff, I haven't really had much luck with finding something that I have actually enjoyed. As far as that's concerned. Hey, what's up, everybody? Hit that like button in there, and let us know what you guys think. So overall, games with gold on like A to F scale. What do you guys give it? We'll go around the room. Who wants to jump in?
I was gonna say, wow, no one's gonna say.
What do you think, man?
I don't know. I think Project Cars is like, you know, the shining thing. I like that Lovers Indie because I'm big into indies and it looks like something I would play.
I knew it. I was like,
yeah, but I don't particularly think, you know, this is like a really super.
I can foresee.
Don't trigger me, goddammit.
In discussion with Brutal Night on Console Corner.
Lovers, the video game.
Lovers in a dangerous space time. It's great. No, I mean it's co-op or whatever.
I'm sure the conversation that would come from that.
Oh yeah, we probably would.
Two of them playing Lovers.
Yes, I mean, come on, that's very 2017.
Yeah, I mean, free games.
So what?
Cool, but I don't.
A to F. What do you think?
A to F. Oh, probably like a D.
Yeah, A, B, C, D. D. Okay, gotcha. What about you, She-Wolf?
Well, Project Cars we actually already own. We actually have it on hard copy. We got it for our son for Christmas. When it first came out, I think, or his birthday. I don't know, but he has the game, and you know, I'm interested in playing the indie game, and for the Star Wars game, we already own that as well. We actually bought that during the sale when it was like Star Wars sale or whatever, or Star Wars Day.
Yeah.
So
did you play it? Because that is a really good game.
No, do you know how many games I have backlog? And now I have Alice that I have to play, so that one's going to become
a Star Destroyer down.
Yes. Well, it is a good game, but if you were to rate it like a school paper or something, what would you rate this month's or February's?
Truthfully, I would probably give it like, in variety wise, I would probably say like a B. If I had to like give it an overall score, like a school like form of grading, because let's be honest, it still gives you a variety of games to play for the month. Like you have an indie game, which is also a co-op game, and then you also have a racer, and then you have a story, and then you have a fighter. So it does give you a decent wide variety of games for this month. Yeah.
So you would say B.
Yeah.
Okay. Hellhammer, what would you grade it?
I would probably say like a D. I mean,
That's right, Hellhammer. Tell him, bro.
I mean, look, I mean, there's some decent games out there, like Monkey Island. I think that's a really good game. But I mean, and Project Cars is probably the only one that shines out of the whole thing as being like a big title.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Force Unleashed, probably most people have already played that.
Yeah, I mean, most people have already played it, or they have no interest in it. I mean, honestly, and then Project Cars again is a game that interests me, but it's not going to be a game I'm going to sit down and play it. It just interests me because it's something different from Forza.
You'll play it and then you'll go, "This sucks" after like one race, and then never play it again.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, because we tried playing The Crew, or I tried playing that, and I was like, "This sucks."
Yeah, I did.
And then,
I tried playing that new Need for Speed game, and I was like, "This sucks." I haven't played them ever.
That's what Hellhammer says.
Just because you guys don't like those style of racers doesn't mean that other people aren't going to enjoy that style of racer. And the fact that they're giving it away for free still gives like people who haven't actually enjoyed many racers the opportunity to play a racer.
Yeah, when you got like Forza Horizon 3 and Forza Motorsport, you really don't need to play anything else, really.
Yeah, that's true.
But they're not free either.
That's true. Well, we got 2 Ds and a B. What about you, Dealer? What would you rate this?
Somebody was saying in the chat that the new South Park game was canceled, but I just looked into it and I'm not seeing anything, buddy.
I don't think
March 31st.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on it. So I don't know if that he's just getting around or whatever. But I just want to get to that. But anyways, yeah, I would give it probably what was it, Lovers something and Project Cars for Xbox One. I don't know, man. I know how bad Project Cars is, in my opinion. After
Monkey Island 2 and Force Unleashed.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just after like 8 gigs of patches, Project Cars, it still played the same to me after I rebought it recently. So I don't know. I wouldn't really recommend it. I'd give it like a C minus, maybe.
Gotcha. I'd give it a C as well. I don't think it's terrible. Like they've done worse, but definitely not their best offering. But it is, like, to Shiwo's credit, a variety-filled thing. There's like, you got the indie game that's co-op. You got Project Cars as a racer. You got Monkey Island, which is like a point and click. And Force Unleashed, which is like an action and adventure Star Wars game that's actually pretty damn good. So, if you guys, I mean, obviously, I'm going to download all this stuff. I already have.
Yeah, for sure. It's free. Why not download it?
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Definitely. Phil Spencer plays Xbox Scorpio, and he says that games played great, console looked right. Now, I did a video about this. You did one too, Dealer. The funny thing is, I did this video, and I'm not like, because I was home today, so I'm in the comments, which that's my first mistake. I'm in my comment section. People are like,
"Well, Crap Gamer from that, dude."
Yeah, they're like, "Well, Crap Gamer, the head of Xbox, says that the Scorpio games played great and the console looked right." Stop the presses. You know what I mean? Like, what an idiot! I mean, you're fucking idiot, Crap Gamer. You're stupid.
In other news, Sony fanboys watching an Xbox YouTube channel. Like, what the fuck are you even doing here?
But here's to my point. Like, and I replied to some of these people. I'm like, you know what, Phil has been a straight shooter. If a game was bad, say, it needs work, or we've still got time or whatever. But my thing was, I was excited that Phil Spencer in January is playing an Xbox Scorpio. Like, that was the whole point. It wasn't the fact that he says that the games played great. Well, because I'm glad that they do. Playing that in January, a lot of the haters were out there saying that, this thing would get delayed or that it was going to get downgraded, and Phil has come out directly against those things and said nope and nope. So he's playing it in January. That bodes well for the holiday launch, like we've been expecting and things like that. So Just your guys' take on that. I mean, he comes out like I like the fact that they're talking about it because Nintendo, they're like, we've got this thing. It's called the Switch. Fucking need more about it for 4 months. You know what I mean? Like that's what Nintendo does. And Phil Spencer and everybody's tweeting about Scorpio, about how that here it comes and the most powerful console and all this stuff. And so Phil's out there actually building the hype and talking about their console.
Well, that's the problem with people that don't think past their own forehead, is they don't really look at things from Phil Spencer's position. He's got thousands of tweets, possibly a day, asking you about this damn console. Hey, have you played it? He's gotten every question under the sun. Everything you've ever thought about this thing has probably hit him on Twitter, right? So he's reacting to the people that are following him, and that's his way of keeping up with the community, letting them know everything's on task and all that. And just because people bring that news to their subscribers and people are like, well, stop the presses, well, like I said, why are you even watching? You're not a fan of the brand, you don't like the console, and this is for people that want to know how progress is going on. So I completely can relate there. It's understandable, but I think it's good too. He's still got like 7 or 8 months before the thing comes out, and he's already playing games. We've never heard that from anyone before in gaming. Like when they're releasing a new console, like 8 months before it comes out, he's like, yeah, I'm playing these games. They're running great already. Like that's probably a first in the industry.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's good news too. I mean, I agree. Like everybody wants to know about the Scorpio. Everybody's like, oh, when are we gonna get more? When are we gonna see it? Da da da. So him coming out and saying, hey, I played it. Yeah, it's a thing. It's still cool. Yada yada yada. But to the other people's point that we're kind of like, oh well, of course. I mean, I kind of agree too, because he's not going to come out and being like, well, it's a big pile of fucking shit.
Yeah, he's not gonna, even
Oh, way to throw me under the bus, GKB.
I'm not throwing you under the bus, bro. I'm not doing that.
Like the odds of it being shit, though, if people are impressed with PS4 Pro, there's no way it's worse than that. So I don't think he would. You know what I'm saying? There's no way it could possibly be worse than the Pro games with over 100 more gigabytes per second of memory bandwidth, 4 more gigs. You know the whole spiel, right? So I don't think he's gonna say that for no reason.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I don't think he's saying it for no reason, but I'm just saying like he's in a position where he's not gonna be like, yo, it's a fucking pile of shit, guys. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, any head of a division,
other than that, it's dog shit.
Yeah, any head of the division is gonna talk up their product. I think it's good news though that he is talking about it, at least trying to get some hype and letting people know that he's playing it. I mean, obviously, it's going to be an awesome system, but I mean, let's face it, even if it was, a piece of crap, where he's going to be saying whatever, that it's great, the greatest thing to ever come out.
Yeah. Well, my point again was, someone wants to hear your take on this stuff because they think your voice is sexy, She Wolf. So go ahead and give your take on Phil Spencer talking up Scorpio.
Okay, well, first, truthfully, with him coming out saying that, the games play great, I would hope so. Because if they're not playing great, then there's some issues and you really need to go back and fix it. And the fact that it's this early, are we really that surprised? Because truthfully, the months are going to go, they're going to fly by. And if it's supposed to come out in the fall, we don't know if that's early fall or late fall. So truthfully, hearing that it's ready or, it's near ready, we shouldn't be surprised. Hype-wise, I don't want to really hear it because Microsoft, I'm sure I'll get hate for this, but when it comes down to it, Microsoft has not been the greatest with, getting people hyped and then in the end letting people down. So
I don't think they hype enough. They do not hype enough compared to their competition.
She's militant today.
Well, because they have hyped quite a few things they have hyped. Haven't really, for instance,
I feel like a scalebound thing coming in here somehow.
Yeah. Well, there is a scalebound thing. They did hype that and then kind of just dropped it, but there's still Crackdown too.
Well, I don't know.
Waiting on Crackdown.
Hype marketing or just letting people know the game is real, because I wouldn't think that Scalebound had much hype marketing. They showed it off a few times. We saw zero marketing for it. You know what I'm saying?
But Microsoft allowed them to have a whole month of going in depth with the developers with IGN.
Yeah, they did. It was then an IGN first,
but then Microsoft still would have had to have approved it.
I don't know. I don't know the details of that.
Yeah. Oh, look at people in the chat talking about Digital Foundry did not lie, just made assumption based on a year-old white paper. Yeah, I mean that's more or less accurate. That's what I've been saying. We'll talk about that here in a little bit.
It's just I don't know when it comes down to it just it's nice to see that he's playing on it. Like that aspect of it is great because at least it does put some realism to it. But at the same time, I just rather actually want to see it. I'm kind of done with hearing what's going on, and I want proof. I want to see things. I don't want to just hear things anymore.
Yeah. Well, to your point, also, She-Wolf, a lot of people are like that. Like, if Microsoft doesn't talk about stuff, they think it's canceled now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty true.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like people
they
are
haven't
like,
said anything about this in the last 5 minutes. It's canceled.
Well, no, it's just look at you got Fable Legends. We saw that at E3. They hyped it at E3. It got canceled. Scalebound. They canceled
the deck.
But it's not even just that. Like, you and the freaking pirate. Like, it's not even just that. Like, there's other small minor things that they get really hyped up, but then it takes them a little longer to actually show us. Like, we're still waiting to find out what's going on. Oh, Southbound's calling me a pony. Wow.
Have you even got to touch the PS4 yet? I'm just curious.
No, actually, I haven't played the PS4. I haven't.
Well, there you go. So how can she be a pony if she hasn't even touched the PS4 yet? She's too busy making videos.
South is being really mean. He's gonna make me cry.
Oh, look at that!
Call me Iron She-Wolf. Wow.
Oh man,
Iron She-Wolf.
That's
I'm gonna cry now.
Come on, Southie.
Oh, wow. I'm done talking now. I'm not gonna talk to the rest of the show now. It's all his fault.
Yeah, but I mean, look, it is what I'm happy that he's talking about it because it's exciting. You know what I mean? Like, again, I get it. He is the head of Xbox. He's not going to say it's shit. But he did pretty much say Fable Legends was shit. And he did pretty much say that Scalebound wasn't up to snuff.
Yeah, I think he'll come out and say like video games like suck and all that stuff, but I don't think he's going to say like Scorpio sucks or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's just more likely that Scorpio just doesn't suck.
Well, at the same time,
I mean, come on.
Like, at the same time, though, I do understand obviously it's just not all controlled by him. So anything that has happened in the past with Microsoft or Xbox and, the games and all that kind of stuff, that's not obviously his fault, or at least completely his fault, because there are other teams and there is obviously marketing, producers and all that other kind of stuff. So, but for him to come out and actually mention the Scorpio is definitely like still a step in the right direction. But again, I don't know. I'm still more about proof than about actually just talking.
Like, show me the money, right? Yeah, I got you. Show me the money. Yeah, I'm with you. And I think we're going to see, just for a note, just so you guys know, because everybody in this room has seen the documents that I have, their official documents. A lot of people think Crapgamer's full of shit when he's like, I got some documents, or I got this. Or
I don't know how the fuck you get them, bro. But
exactly.
I can confirm they were real.
Yeah,
a lot of people claim that Crapgamer doesn't know what he's talking about, or he lies about this stuff, or whatever. The same person that I got documents from before was the one that told me that there's also going to be a reveal in May for the Xbox Scorpio, like a hardware reveal. So
yeah, I hope so, man.
I'm pretty confident that I think that would be a smart move, and I think that we will see that. I think that they need to do that because Scorpio they're gonna have to do the exact opposite of what Sony did with the Pro reveal, and they're gonna have to, kind of the messaging has to be on point. And speaking of the messaging, high fidelity VR,
You're botting really badly.
You were botting so bad.
Am I still botting?
It's in and out, man. It happened to me too on Hangouts. I think the host, I don't know, Hangouts is acting weird here lately. So
yeah, I checked my connection. Just if I'm botting, let me know.
Having some issues.
Yeah, they've got some issues, but yeah. So the mention of high fidelity VR has been removed from the Xbox Scorpio bullet points, and a lot of people were speculating. Of course, the negative part from the Sony fanboys is that this means that Scorpio is not powerful enough to run high fidelity VR anymore. Which is I shit you not.
That doesn't even make any sense. If the PlayStation 4 and the Pro can run it, this is
if your cobbled ass console, you got that bitch duct taped together, the Pro can fucking run VR, and in the base PS4 at 1.8T flops. Obviously, that's why I don't even think these people are serious. They're just trolling because it's such a small amount of logic you have to defeat your own argument there.
Yeah, honestly, if anything, I think it's just because VR is just such a failed project for everything.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I made a comment on N4G because my ban was up. I said about this article, and I said they see how poorly VR is selling across the board and don't want any piece of that. Studios that are making VR games are closing left and right. Sony isn't talking numbers about their VR, and overall, nobody seems thrilled with VR by any means. Yeah. And I got 19 disagrees and only 3 agrees. And yeah,
Christ, man. That website is toxic.
The only people I see,
shit out of here.
VR or enjoying it, or the people who are using like an HTC Vive or something like that on a very expensive setup.
Yeah, $800 setup. Yeah, just for VR. Yeah.
I think
that's not even including the system to run it.
I think a lot of it is that, like, you know, VR didn't catch fire like everybody thought it was. You know, it's the experience. You have to experience whatever the hell that means. And a lot of it too is like, I think, you know, they have like that Oculus maybe partnership stuff, but Oculus is going through that, you know, lawsuit and all that kind of stuff right now. So, you know, they're probably pulling back a little bit. I could see that. Not a big deal, but it's not going to be because Scorpio can't run it. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can see how like the narrative has spun to Scorpio was downgraded. Like how they come to these conclusions, I couldn't fucking tell you. But they did actually comment and say that it's still going to support it, but they just removed the bullet point or whatever. Because look, that's going to mix the focus on it, really. Yeah, like that's a mixed messaging. Like, what's the percentage of gamers on console that actually care or want VR right now, especially in its current form? I don't think it's very high. So removing that bullet point helps clear up the message to me. Before like the reveal and things like that. So I do think that we will see VR, but probably not first party. I think you'll see it work with Oculus or Vive.
Mm-hmm. And it just allows them to consolidate their workforce on getting the important things done first and a little more efficiently. And later on, they're like, yeah, it does support VR, but you know, that's up to third parties for now. And like Phil said, it's kind of just a collection of demos and experiences, right? So that is pretty much the fact that VR is just not done well. PSVR is the leading platform in the world right now for VR. And it's still not done great. It's still not sold great. The games still don't sell very well. So, yeah, that's exactly the reason.
Yeah, I mean, they're not even real games at this point. They're just demos, and I think that was like its detriment to begin with. Is like there was no like killer app or really good game that you.
I'm sure Resident Evil 7 is pretty raw on PSVR though.
Yeah, it can. I mean, I'd rather play it without VR, honestly.
I'm just saying, like, you know, that game's playable front to end, and it's a good game so far. I'd be interested in trying it, but, you know, I don't know.
Here's the thing, like, and you can ask Helmer, I've teetered on PlayStation VR. I'm like, maybe I'll get one because it'll be funny, right? But and I've mentioned that in the past couple podcasts as well. But like, it's really expensive, and like Sony is real quick to pull the trigger on not supporting their stuff. Just look at like the Move. Look at the Vita, all this stuff.
Guarantee you, give it a year, you'll be able to get that experience for like half off because once they drop it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. You know what I mean? Like, I do think it's kind of interesting, but I don't think it'll ever like take off the way that people were saying it's the future of gaming. Like, people were legit saying VR is the future of gaming. We're all going to be playing VR.
Well, the same people that said that, they were the same people who were like 3D TV and 3D gaming is the future of gaming. All this stuff is just a bunch of fads because, one, nobody wants to sit there and play a 3, 4, 5, 6 hours of gaming or a 50-hour game, like, say, like The Witcher or something like that, with either glasses or goggles strapped to your face.
That's just to the point, like the guy in the chat who says only porn can make VR a success. I don't know. Like, I do think that that's an interesting asset to that, but the problem is, like, people are already like, when you're listening to that on your phone or whatever, you got your earphone on or whatever, and then you can't have both earphones on, like, but you want to hold goggles and earphones, so you're just like, I don't know. That whole thing just screams bad situation to me. So.
That's not the comment I would have covered, man. I would have covered the comment that says Sony and Microsoft will burn and Nintendo will rise from the ashes.
Oh, Nintendo is rising from the ashes. Look, Nintendo's not rising. No, they don't need to rise from the ashes. You know what I mean? Like, Nintendo is Nintendo. I'm not a Nintendo hater. I love Nintendo. I like their stuff, you know. Like, I know I get dealers like her, but yeah, like me, I like that it's different. It's not for everybody. And
we all started out on Nintendo, right? Like, but I'm just saying that, you know, the comment is hilarious. That was a good one.
Yeah, it is. I mean, look, look, the bottom line is this: like, neither Sony nor Nintendo as companies can hold a candle to Microsoft. They can't. Like they don't have the money, they don't have the means, they don't have anything. Nintendo's strictly a gaming company. Sony does a couple of other things, but that's rapidly changing. So realistically,
closing down everything they own.
Buildings, you know what I mean? Like they've had a lot of problems, and so like, you know, I always find it funny when people are like, yeah, you know, like Microsoft will go out of business or they'll do that. I'm like, man, are you serious? They're predicted to be the first $1 trillion company, so let's stop with all that nonsense. You know what I mean? Just stop.
They're literally at the top of their game, and they're literally at the top of the top. So,
yes.
Jesus.
Okay. Okay. Resident Evil 7. We'll segue into that since we were talking about that a little bit. I don't have it yet, but I know a couple.
Are you serious right now, dude?
You know what though? Because Hellhammer was like, I don't know, I don't really want that game. So it's like we usually go back and forth on who gets the game. And since he doesn't really, it's not a game that he wants. So it's like, I don't know, like I might pick it up when it hits a sale or something. I don't know. But
are you into horror games though?
So, like, you know what? I liked Until Dawn. I've liked past Resident Evils, but this one does look a little bit too creepy for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he's afraid he's gonna drop his Elite controller like he did his DS forever ago, and then be like, "Oh crap."
That is not a true story. I was a little bit startled playing the Resident Evil remake on the DS years ago, and I let out a little chirp, not a scream or anything. And
a chirp.
Yeah, man.
And I was like,
threw that DS 6 foot across the floor.
A little tiny pink Nintendo DS playing Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Chirping.
Hey, my Nintendo DS was blue. Now I have a pink one, but yeah, the original one that I had at the time was blue. And yeah, it was pretty badass. Yeah, so GKB, have you played it yet?
Yeah, man, I'm playing the crap out of it.
What are your initial thoughts? Because I know you guys will do videos and stuff on it, and you don't want to give away too much. But what are your just initial thoughts on it?
Well, my initial thoughts, like, because I loved Resident Evil 4, I loved like that mechanic and everything they did and changed it up. And I was kind of worried at first, like, man, first person, I don't know. But like once you start playing it and get into it, it's really freaking amazing. The graphics are great. I played it on both the Xbox One and the PC because that Play Anywhere.
Nobody uses that.
It's just a throwaway feature, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the story is phenomenal right now, man.
Hang on. Let me get this straight. So you bought one, and you got another one for free?
I know it's fucking crazy, right?
What? It's insane. That's almost like Microsoft wants to give people choices. Holy shit! They don't want to stifle people. They want to let them play
pro-consumer move there
on any of their platforms. Weird,
fucking bastards.
It is, man. Damn them.
Damn them giving me a free copy of a game.
That sexy ass Phil Spencer.
Yes, GKB. Go ahead and continue.
Excuse me. Go ahead.
Yeah. But the story is like,
I
just learned about this Play Anywhere thing. I'm just blown away right now. So
go ahead, GKB.
Yeah, the story's great, man. I got creeped out quite a few times playing this thing, man, and I'm enjoying the shit out of it right now. It's a lot of fun. I don't want to go like too much into it because it's one of those games like you give too much away and people won't.
The house, though, I know that just from watching the trailer.
You have no idea.
Yeah. It kind of gives off a Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of vibe.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
So, like the first person thing, does that really throw it off or make it feel?
No,
different?
actually, I think a lot of the mechanics are. You could tell it's Resident Evil, like, but the story and stuff is very not Resident Evil, I would say. When you get to certain points, you could tell, like the puzzles and all that kind of stuff is very Resident Evil. I don't know. I don't want to talk like too much about it because I'll just give everything away. So, yeah.
What about you, Dealer? What are your thoughts? Because I know you were playing it a little bit, and you were talking pre-show that you were digging it, saying that you thought it was a really westernized take on that series.
Yeah, and believe it or not, there are assholes out there like myself who do not generally like Japanese style kind of influenced titles, right? That's just my opinion. And I would say that if this had no logos on it at all, you didn't even know what it was called, and you just played it, you would never guess that it's kind of came from a Japanese side of gaming, right? It's a very well done, a lot of Western influences in this game, in my opinion. It just the way the game runs is pretty damn near flawless. I haven't noticed any frame dips. The game looks pretty good, and also it is very Resident Evil. So as somebody who's pretty much beat every single Resident Evil, like I said, it's a big departure, but at the same time, it's a very Resident Evil in the way that you've got to hunt down the keys for certain doors. So, you know, like there's these dog heads, and you use these 3 keys to open one door, and they're spread around. You've actually got to find them. And if you go to a certain place, you can find out where to find them at. But if you never unlock that door, you would never know where those are, and you'd have to find them the hard way, right? So there are tons of different types of keys for all these doors, and you find them in a lot of different ways. And the gunplay, obviously, I don't know. That's my only maybe a little gripe, but it is a horror game, so I don't think you're supposed to be battlefielding this game, right? Obviously, I think it's that way intentionally, but it is very Western in nature to me. And, you know, I got it to play with my girl, so I can't really just buzz through it until she's ready to play it, unfortunately. But I do want to play it all the time. Even when I can't play it, I want to play it, and that's a good thing. So
they got
that's just my take on it.
They got this really cool, to piggyback onto the key thing that Dealer was saying there, is they have this really cool like shadow puzzle kind of thing that opens up doors as well, where you have to like make it the shape of whatever the picture is, and it's really interesting, and it's actually a lot of fun.
That's one way you know it's Resident Evil. It's like, why do I need to make a grilled cheese to open this door? Like,
exactly.
The most unrelated thing.
Why can't I just push it open? Like,
here's a California condor.
No,
you know?
You got to build a sand castle, but the thing is, you don't have any sand. Like, you got to find sand, and you build the sand yourself. You know, like it's Japanese in that way, but it's still a lot of fun. And as long as you don't look too much into it, like, why do I need this to do this? Then it's a lot of fun. I really recommend it.
Did you see the when you walk down the first path after you get out of the car and you come to that like broken down van, the Simply Gone like fucking bumper sticker on the car? I was just laughing when I saw that.
Yeah,
I haven't played it, but you guys definitely piqued my interest in it. It seems like it kind of bites a little bit off of
Outlast,
that Silent Hill stuff,
or
Outlast and like Silent Hills a little bit.
I think you should give it a try, man. I think you should.
I actually prefer the fact that it's first person instead of third person, because I find when it comes to scary games, it's better to always feel like you're the one that's actually going through these events instead of watching a character go through the events, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like I find it.
I was on the fence about the camera angle as well, and I'm telling you, somebody was like, "This doesn't seem Resident Evil. It seems more Outlast," which, in my opinion, it's much better than Outlast. Every single way.
I loved Outlast.
I think it's better than Outlast by miles, and I feel like it's a real game with tons of features as well. But I was kind of on the fence about the camera angles as well, and I can say after playing it, it's a non-issue. I don't even think about it anymore. This is Resident Evil to me.
Yep.
Well, I mean, if Crapgamer does pick it up, I'll make sure to report back on what happens when he.
Why don't you pick it up? And
he was holding his TV this time, and he got scared, and he dropped his TV.
He dropped his TV. He pissed himself, and here's a picture of his pen. That is something Hellhammer would do, and he's like, "I'm gonna just do exposed videos about you, crap, and then and then that'll grow my channel really, really big." And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, that's probably one way, but he's like, "I got the real dirt on you," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, damn it." He does, but anyway, over 400 watching, hit the like button because we have less than half the likes, and that's ridiculous.
Somebody just asked how the inventory system works. It works pretty much identically. You can actually expand those slots as well. It's very Resident Evil. Like I said, it's got a lot of those mechanics.
You have the trunk that you can put stuff in.
Yeah, there's a trunk that that shares inventory, like an inventory stash across every trunk in every safe house that you find. It's good. It's good.
Is there a lot of jump scares? A lot of jump scares.
I really don't think there is, really, to be honest. And there might be a few here and there.
I think it depends on the type of person who's playing it when it comes to a jump scare.
Yes, crap for you. Yes, there's tons of jump scares.
Yeah. For people who don't scare easily, then going through these kind of games, you expect something to happen. Like it happens, and then you're like, oh, okay.
I don't scare easily in this game, but I find the atmosphere just adds a lot of tension, and I'm always like cautious about going around corners and shit now. Like, I don't know. It's really, really good.
I was watching him play last night. It was kind of funny.
I was like, oh shit.
And the thing is, when you open every door,
she just got my fucking hand off.
You're thinking there might be a jump scare after you open every door, because when you hit A or you push forward on it, it just cracks. So you're like, fuck, there's something behind this door, a lot more than there actually is, and you think behind the door, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds fun. It sounds like you guys are having a good time with it. Maybe I'll pick it up and play it and see what I think, because people are asking. Yeah, I mean, people are asking about it. They're like, hey, this game looks good.
You have to live stream it, Because that's just what makes it even better.
We're not going to tell you if there's zombies. We're not going to tell you if there's zombies, chat. You got to play it, man. We're not going to ruin it.
Yeah, you know what? I thought about doing that, like recording myself because I can't stream, but recording myself doing like Until Dawn because there was a couple of good jump scares in there. Rare PS4 game that I actually enjoyed very much. But let's see, Halo Wars 2 Blitz mode impressions. If you played it, GKB, I know you played it. I actually like this mode a lot. I think it cuts down on the time of RTS games. Like an RTS game can take an hour, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever.
Well, yeah, if you're playing like really good players, yeah, it'll take a while.
A great RTS
so I mean,
takes several hours.
So I think having a mode where a mode like this is pretty cool, where it's gonna really open it up for, I don't want to say noobs, but I guess noobs.
Yeah, I mean,
it's more accessible, yes.
Yeah, it's to get more of the casuals or people that are just not into RTSs or never played one, and to hang out and have a good time, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
I like RTSs, and I still didn't like it.
Really?
I am not a fan of art. I did not. I've never been a fan of RTSs, and I even attempted. I attempted it. I did because it's supposed to be ending on the 30th, so I figured I would just give it a try. No.
They really are. It's like it's been a dying genre for a while because in the 90s they were extremely common. It was oversaturated and there was kind of like an RTS crash. And since then they've kind of, I like that they're trying to revive it because there's no other type of game like that. But Blitz is a good take. It's very accessible. For those that don't like base building and stuff, but you like that combat from the top down strategic view, there you go. That's your game right there.
Yeah. Are you guys, GKB, are you guys picking it up?
Oh, absolutely, man. I'm getting Halo
I don't
Wars.
have a choice.
Halo Wars 2 day one for sure. I like Blitz mode too because it's fast and it uses the cards, but there's still a lot of strategy that is reminiscent to RTS games, which I thought was really cool because you got to do resource management with your cards, but also the energy. It's a lot of fun, man. I enjoyed the crap out of it.
I like it too. Oh, well, you should play it. It's actually pretty fun. Dealer, what are your thoughts? Did you enjoy it? Are you picking it up?
Yeah, I'm going to play it for sure, probably right when it comes out, just to support RTS games because it's a genre that needs to come back. But with Halo Wars in general, I'm the opposite of you probably. I would like to see more of an emphasis on true base building, not just kind of compartmentalized, hey, decide what goes in this slot, that slot, that slot. A good example is like Rise of Nations or something like that, where I can put things where I want it to be and have strategic defenses and stuff. I like, kind of a lot more emphasis on base building strategy as well as the kind of troop building strategy as well. But Halo Wars is kind of like a step, and it's kind of in the middle, right? And it's got a mode for those that like none of the base stuff and a mode for those that do. So I'm definitely going to pick it up. It's good to have a high production value RTS on the console.
And if you get, I think, the $80 one, you get the remastered of Halo Wars 1 for free.
It ain't quite free at $80, but you're getting something at least, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, you get it. I mean, I don't know. You also get the DLC and stuff or whatever. So, yeah, you know what? The funny thing is, I used to play some PC gaming in the mid to late 90s, and I used to play RTSs. That was one of my things. So I actually enjoy RTSs quite a lot. I just don't like PC gaming. So
they're supposed to have a StarCraft remaster sometime. I heard about that. Hopefully that hits consoles as well.
I'd like to see Age of Empires.
Microsoft owns that IP.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Ybarra was teaching. Ybarra was what was he teasing? Age of Empires.
Yeah, Ybarra teases a lot of stuff. Yeah, that dude. I mean, I've
fuckers won't know what it means for a year and a half. Charcoal. And it's like, okay, well, let's decipher this.
Really cool stuff. Maybe I'll talk about on air some of the stuff that I heard, but yeah, that guy is really a good person to have on that team. He does really great work, and he's a real straight shooter too. So Ori and the Blind Forest dev, he actually said I like what he said, man. He said the Xbox Scorpio is a next gen console, which is weird that he said that, but the part that I like best was he said it's a next gen console, unlike the quote unquote half-assed PS4 Pro. I love that. No, I mean, this guy,
that. Tim Dog, didn't Tim Dog retweet that or something? And he's like,
yeah.
He said something about now you have to believe or can't believe that a dev would come out and say that.
Yeah, I mean, look, this guy is obviously he did Ori and the Blind Forest game. Obviously, the sequel is in the works. But for him to call the PS4 Pro like a half-assed thing, I thought that was funny as hell. And for him, but I also thought it was odd that he called the Scorpio next-gen console. I guess maybe in old-school terms, it is next generation, but
he's referring to performance there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, it sounds like performance-wise because
it's such a big jump that you could almost consider it as such.
Yeah, like next generation. Like for me, like we are kind of at this weird spot where we get these like mid-gen. Who knows if we'll keep getting them, but just the fact that they're doing a much more powerful console was like 4.5 times more powerful than the Xbox One itself. And so, but what he did say is that it's a full-fledged next-gen console that just has backwards compatibility with all the games and stuff like that. So, I mean, that is a little bit odd just going around the room. What is your thoughts on that? And both the pro comments and the next-gen comments for Scorpio? Don't everybody jump in at once.
For the pro comments, I mean, that's basically just them telling the truth. I mean, that thing was just kind of hacked together real quick, it seems like. As far as being next gen, I mean, I think this actually probably would be the what I would consider a next generation console, even though it's a what realistically could be a mid-life refresh.
Yeah.
But the problem is just so much difference in the power. I think it won't be very long, to say that it will be a Scorpio exclusive games within like 2 years.
Well, do you think Hellhammer? Do you think that they were doing that whole maybe to not piss off some of the Xbox One owners and early adopters and stuff, because if they think, well, this is just an option and my stuff will play, and like that could be that as well.
I mean, that's what I think it is, honestly. I mean, I've been thinking that for a while now. That's basically they're going to try to do that. They're going to release the people are still going to get their games on the original Xbox One, though. I mean, don't get me wrong. But I think after a year and a half, 2 years, you're going to start to dwindle down because the developers are going to want to make something that only runs just on that. They're going to see that power, and you're going to want to take advantage of it with a game that can only run on that system.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit odd because we've seen a 4-year cycle before. The original Xbox was a 4-year cycle. Obviously, that was getting peppered to death by the PlayStation 2. And then also the problems with the chipset in that, where they stopped producing it, and it was just losing so much money per console. So I could see that. I'm not saying that Phil Spencer has to stand for the Xbox One. I think the Xbox One S is probably the finest console created. I think it's amazing. It's kick ass. But I do think that he was eager to get kind of his blueprint down with something powerful and maybe going old school, because Phil's been there for a long time, since I think the beginning of the Xbox there. And so the original message was power. You know what I mean? And I think that he's going back to that. And I think that that's going to really pay off for everyone, because I think he's got that old school kind of mentality.
The original message for the very original Xbox was just that. It was the power and the fact that it was an entertainment machine. You could rip your CDs to it. I mean, that was the first, play custom soundtracks.
Yeah, man, I used to play that NFL 2K. I used to play that NFL 2K5, but whenever I scored a touchdown and play some Audio Slave, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, yeah, I mean, that was sick. You were able to do that.
I used to have Project Gotham Racing. I used to do that when you were driving, racing around. I mean, have the custom radio soundtracks and stuff. I mean, that was awesome for the time.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. But
jump in on this, right? I know you're probably going to come to me anyway soon, but basically, I really don't think that's the case because of the way they're splitting the games, Scorpio games, PC versions, Xbox One games. Obviously, we even saw in the developer notes they're still incentivizing people to develop for ESRAM, because it not only does it help the Xbox One, but GPUs with lower VRAM, things like that. I don't think they're going to get rid of Xbox One support for at least another 5 years, because what makes them money? Not selling consoles, it's the software. And they don't want developers jumping in and basically worrying about install bases anymore at all. That's the biggest thing. They want more support. And if they cut off the Xbox One, they just lost 30 million install base. Just as of right now.
I don't think they're going to necessarily cut it off entirely, but you will see games that'll just be playable just on the Scorpio. I can almost guarantee it.
I don't think they have to resort to that in the next 2 years. I think it might be 5 years, 6 years, because I mean, games are still running 1080p now, and they look great. Gears of War 4 is a great example on an engine they said wouldn't even run on the Xbox One. And with new technologies like frame rate interpolation, all the stuff they're doing, recycling data from previous frames, these technologies are getting crazy. I think it's less necessary than it's ever been. We've seen more 60 FPS titles this generation than ever.
Well, I mean, but the difference is though is that's just graphical performance, right? But you're looking at the increase on the CPU side as well for AI and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's another part of what those documents entail, was how they're actually improving with technologies there, kind of an equivalent of interpolation, but for the CPU, where they're able to ramp up and render things around 60. But you know what I'm saying? There's just a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that, but I mean, honestly, look, I mean, as a developer, as somebody who's coded before myself, like, I'd rather just have access to the raw power and just say, you know,
I know you would, like, duh, right? Everyone wants to only code for the easiest and simplest machine, but they're doing it for money. They don't want to ditch out on most of their buyers. That's going to be the reality. In 2 years, there'll still be more Xbox Ones out there than Scorpios. And I just don't think that's going to be the case. Like I said, you can simply just drop resolution or cut 60 FPS games down to 30 and maintain good visuals for several years to come. I just don't see it being a big issue. I mean, like I said, on PC right now, there's still way lower common denominators playing current games than Xbox One and PS4 hardware specs.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I mean, you got people out there still running
like integrated graphics,
integrated graphics and 750 Ti.
And they can still play some of the games out today. So,
but I mean, I still think that they're gonna do something with that where it'll be only where certain features will only be available on Scorpio, or they'll be games.
Oh yeah, like certain graphics technologies. I mean, hell, something as simple as HBAO, right? Like ambient occlusion. Scorpio version will most likely have it. Xbox One version won't, and we don't have that today. Well, except for like.
How does that mean for us retards?
Well, like a great example, if you play The Witcher 3, right? You play The Witcher 3, obviously. The dialogue scenes, if you notice, they look so fucking phenomenal, and all that's running in engine, right? That light that hits Geralt's beard that makes it look ridiculously realistic, right? Have you noticed that? Yeah. In the dialogues, that's ambient occlusion, like HBAO. Yep. That's a lighting technology that on Scorpio, they can run that full time, and that takes about 10 frames of overhead for the top level HBAO right now. They could easily run that in real time, in engine, while you're playing. That alone is some of the most next level, next generation shit that you're going to notice on Scorpios. That ridiculous lighting that makes things look so realistic and seated in the environment. I'm just saying that's exactly one example of how they'll keep games running on Xbox One. They'll just disable features, and you get what you pay for. The lower Xbox One's price goes, the more they sell, the more hardware or software rather they can sell on the Xbox brand anyway. That's what they really care about, getting games out there. So I just don't see it. They'll just disable features. They'll cut frame rates. They'll get rid of their frame rate parity bullshit for multiplayer eventually, and that's just how it's going to go. They're not going to say, all right, well, we can't keep everybody at 60 anymore, so we're cutting off 40 million people and 40 million potential sales. They're going to say, you know what, Xbox One, you got 30 FPS multiplayer. Over here, you got 60, and that's just how it's going to work eventually. You know, that's how it's going to have to work. It's not
the good news. I think at that point that they just need to switch it over.
Well, here's the thing. There's not most of the games online multiplayer are 68 frames per second as it is. So, like, if you look at Call of Duty, Battlefield, Killer Instinct, those games are 60 anyway. Even like games like Smite.
Well, I mean, those games are running at 60 though, even in the single player, right? Like Battlefield. I mean,
Gears
60.
Gears
is 30.
Gears is one of the few exceptions on that. So, I mean, but like, for instance, like Call of Duty and that sort of thing, already running 60 or as it is. I think that, but a lot of the times, like, for instance, like Gears, that was actually a point I was actually going to make it on that was that they're basically lowering a lot of the lighting and detail and stuff like that in order to make it hit 60 in the multiplayer.
But I still think the multiplayer is it looks good, and I think that it's really, the frame rate is solid. It's like one of the first things.
It looks good.
Yeah. I just think it would be much smarter, so lower resolution, lower features, lower frame rates even on Xbox One versions, rather than destroying half of their install base and lowering developer confidence. God damn it, that's what I'm trying to say. So Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I don't see support dropping for the OGX1 for at least another 5 years.
I mean, like I said, I don't think that support is going to drop as a whole, but I do think that there will be games that an actual full game that will come out and just be Scorpio only, because they got to give somebody incentive. They got to give these people incentive to move forward, right? You keep giving people the same games that are playable on the same thing, you're going to end up with the same thing that happens on PC hardware, right? There's people out there who are sitting there playing their games, and a lot of people are perfectly happy with playing at their 25 frames or whatever on ultra low settings where it looks like a fucking PS2 game, just because they can play the newest game or the newest story mode.
Yeah, those people just don't give a shit, man. They just don't care.
Yeah, have incentive to upsell on this stuff so that way you can keep moving the industry forward.
Well, I mean, the console industry's never given a shit about moving the industry forward. You know, it's always been the PC side of things that's done that. Scorpio is a ridiculous amount of power, and I think when people see the difference in person, that's the important thing. In person, they will want to upgrade for those that do give a shit. But for those that don't, it's going to be just like the 360. There are still people on that today that could care less. They just do not care, even though there's a substantial difference between that and the X1. So it's the same exact thing. People will never upgrade as long as it still plays their favorite game. They just don't care. So why cut off support? Just keep it going. They can easily do it with UWP and the way this works. I mean, I just don't see it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree, because I used to be part of these huge Facebook groups where people were still posting screenshots and pictures of their setup with their 360. So I definitely see that. And again, like, that is still a great system and all that stuff, but the better experiences and more experiences are on the Xbox One. GKB, you're a tech guy, so get in there with what we're talking about, like the next gen. Where do you stand on this? Do you think Scorpio is like a next gen? Is the PS4 Pro half-assed like this guy's saying? What are your thoughts on that?
I thought, like, you know, just the PS4 Pro in general is just basically an upgrade just for pushing their PSVR. That's what I've always thought for the most part. I think, technically speaking, I think the Scorpio is a much, you know, a next gen console, just from a technical standpoint and power standpoint, for sure. I kind of agree with what the developer was saying. It's definitely, like, I don't want to say half-assed, because I think, you know, the Pro does some things good, like, you know, and there's really cool tech in there as well. But yeah, I think it's definitely a next generational leap for sure.
Yeah. What about you, She-Wolf?
Wow, you're funny.
Yeah, I know.
You know, everyone always says,
that
like,
one ready.
I know how everyone says, like, oh, well, I don't like hardware. I'm not going to sit here and try to justify something I don't know. I don't understand what's inside of a console. I don't attempt to try. I'm not a tech person, so I'm not going to give my opinion just to make myself sound like I know what I'm talking about. So but don't.
Better graphics are pretty, and you like pretty
if it
things,
works,
so you
as
like...
long well, okay, I'm not that much of like a girly girl that things have to look pretty. It's more or less I don't want a broken game. I want things to work. When I buy a console, it's because of the fact that I'm trusting the developers of these consoles, you know, the hardware, everything. I'm expecting all of it to actually work and do what I want it to do. I shouldn't have to worry about what's inside of it just to be able to play my games. Now, all of you, like, guys that are, you know, tech guys, obviously you guys love this stuff because that is what you guys do. Like, for instance, GKB, that's his job. That's what he does in everyday life. So, of course, that to him appeals to him. Where me, that's not my everyday life. So what's inside of... What?
I said, you just want good games.
Yeah, I want something that works. Give me games that work on release, and I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, I think we can...
Sorry, my bad. Go ahead, bro.
I was just gonna say we can all agree with that. I'm down with that. It's good.
Oh yeah.
I always try to sound like a dumbass or like a hillbilly when I read like some of this technical stuff. I don't know. I'm like, hey, Helmer, what's that mean? Well, interpolation. What the fuck? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
The easiest way I break down the graphics versus the game is they're intertwined, and to me, a great game that looks fucking phenomenal is even better. And that helps with immersion, in my opinion. So as somebody...
I mean, look, anybody who says that graphics doesn't matter, I mean, it's clearly. I mean, it's just they obviously just don't care then at that point.
And I noticed too, it's a lot of dudes that have played on PC that have seen what some of these games really are supposed to look like. That come back and they're like, man, I'm enjoying the game a little less because I'm just not quite as immersed. And somebody who's never seen that.
That's what out there too. Like The Witcher, The Witcher 3 is probably my all-time favorite game I've ever played. And playing it on PC at 4K, ultra wide monitor at ultra settings, I mean 60 frames. I mean just the difference between that and going back to the Xbox One version is just so different. I can't. I mean,
go back. It's so different, but I have an argument against that because I always say gameplay is king, and yeah, pretty graphics and all that stuff does help with immersion, and it looks pretty and all that stuff. But the game fucking plays terrible. I don't give a shit what it looks like. I'm not.
That's what I say. If it's a good game though, I mean, and it has good visuals as well. Let's take that same game that you say plays great, and that's why you really like it. If that game looked even better, it would be a better game.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why I always say I just want something that's not broken.
It adds that extra layer of effect, right? Like when you're playing on The Witcher and you can now see like all the leaves are rendered separately and all that kind of thing. I mean, it just makes it that much more immersive, right? You're looking around, you're immersed in the environment. It's the reason we're buying
Scorpio, people. It's really simple. When you see these graphics, you're going to be like, oh, Jesus Christ.
It's high-fidelity graphics. And the funny thing is, right, like someone who I follow on Twitter, or I used to, like, he just was talking out of his ass. He was like, so Microsoft is going to put their games in native 4K, and it's going to be low settings, and everything's going to look shitty, and none of the third parties are going to do it. And I don't want that. What's the point of Scorpio? So basically,
it's just a guy that doesn't even know anything about hardware, or he thinks that because it's in 4K.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, I would say that as long as you're hitting 1080p, the resolution isn't as big of a deal as having the higher texture rates and the better lighting and that sort of thing that comes with the power.
Yeah.
Well, and that was another thing in the document, guys, is they mentioned higher fidelity graphics as well, not just resolution, right? So
higher fidelity graphics. Here's the thing. Okay, so we'll delve into this. So in case you guys are just joining us, because there's over 400 now, hit that like button, get some likes in there. Let's get to 250 because that'd be kick-ass. This is why you guys tuned in. I got a hold of some documents, the white paper, the one that Digital Foundry had, as well as something that's really cool that they don't have, which is the roadmap for Xbox Scorpio. I got to hook up with that, and I hooked everybody else up in here with the papers so they can look over it yesterday, and we can talk about this. First of all, it's like that the white paper that they have is 100% accurate. Mm-hmm. The thing is that Digital Foundry did though was speculate
on the CPU.
On the CPU. They were like, well, a throwaway comment made us believe that it's the same Jaguar thing. But if you look into these things, they mentioned that the CPU is scalable, meaning that it's better than the typical one that's in the Xbox One right now. So that to me makes me believe that
they specifically mentioned scaling across multiple different CPUs. So
so that to me is more of a comment than a throwaway comment about anything else. It means that it's better.
If it was just an upclocked Jag core or something like that, they wouldn't have to scale across multiple CPUs because it would just run better because of the better clock speed, and that would be simply that.
Here's the thing people don't really know, though, is they don't know that Jaguar cores don't really clock much higher than 2.1 gigahertz, right? And PS4 Pro has already hit that threshold, and it's still a bottleneck for a lot of particular titles that need alpha effects. That's why you got Uncharted 4 at 1440p, 30 FPS instead of 1440-60 or 1080-60. That's the exact reason why. So Scorpio, even if they wanted to, they couldn't really clock that Jag any higher. If it's not a Ryzen, it'll be a Puma variant, which is more efficient and better than a Jaguar. But that's like the worst case scenario. So either way, you're still probably going to have an entirely different CPU that's going to be way better, and that's not even including these new technologies where they're talking about refreshing on the CPU side at 30 hertz and getting 60 out of the GPU and doing some witchcraft to mesh the two and still getting 60 FPS on most of these games apparently. So either way, they're doing some next level shit. I mean,
I agree with that. Like the tech there, like as far as like interpolation and all that kind of stuff is really cool tech. But at the end of the day, if it was Ryzen and had a shit ton of horsepower, they wouldn't be throwing that in there. I mean, essentially, interpolation is just a fake to.
If we want to use that example, though, then developers and game engineers would have never developed temporal anti-aliasing, which also does trickery.
It's the same thing. I mean, it's still a same thing. It's
I mean, why not recycle? Like I use an example. We covered this in so ridiculously deep detail yesterday on my channel. I use this example. It's like paying $10 for something, and every time you give this guy a $10 bill, he hands you $4 back. He's like, "Here, take this free money." Right? Why not recycle and get some of this performance back for free instead of paying the full 10? You're getting some of this overhead back, right? And that's kind of like TAA and things kind of cheat and recycle things on screen to give you a crisper image at the cost of kind of some Vaseline smear, obviously. It's kind of the CPU equivalent where they're recycling information that's there and trying to get the most out of it.
But at the end of the day, though, like, seriously, like, let's be honest here. If they had full, like, whatever they wanted in the CPU, they wouldn't be doing this. And I think that's where, I think Digital Foundry made a logical argument, and it's a solid argument that, I don't think it's going to be a Ryzen or anything.
I mean, and I'm right there with you. I don't know. I first predicted it to be a Puma 7 months ago.
Agree with you. It's probably something like that with maybe some Ryzen tech in
there. But
either
way, it's going to be next level. Phil Spencer.
I can tell you it's not a Jaguar. like to me,
I never thought it was going to be Jaguar anyway, but
people. Idiot. Here's the thing, because people were going, oh man, it's just a Pro 2.0, whatever, because people were assuming Polaris
just don't understand
and Jaguar. Yeah, but I want to read this right from the thing, because this is what the guy says. He goes, "We know that AMD's next gen Vega GPU boasts considerably improved frequencies, and the faster it runs, the fewer compute units are required to hit 6 teraflop targets. So just 40 compute units at 1.18 gigahertz could deliver Scorpio's stated 6 teraflops, or 44 compute units at 1.07 gigahertz. On top of that, Vega's use of a tile-based something widely seen as the key to NVIDIA's performance lead in Maxwell's GPU technology could also yield dividends in delivering a more capable 4K console." So even though they're like
all that stuff that you said right there really has nothing to do with Vega. That's just GPU tech in general. The more CUs, the more
because
means more terabytes.
Well, I understand, but what he was saying
Vega is basically getting more efficiency out of fewer.
Yeah, it's getting more efficiency out of fewer.
Well, which really doesn't really affect the CPU argument too much, really.
Yeah, but no, I was just pointing that out because a lot of people were jumping on the Polaris bandwagon with this. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be like people are misunderstand when you say that, or when I say that, right? When I say Polaris or Vega, it's not like the one that they're showing off, like the 1400 or whatever. it would be the tech. They get custom stuff. So it would be, just like the PS4 Pro uses
at the end of the day, though. At the end of the day, right? Like Polaris, Vega are both very good tech as far as it goes for any kind of graphical or GPU. Very, very good tech. I mean, we see Polaris now working on the RX 480. I mean, that's basically closing the gap as a $200 GPU.
People
on the
wouldn't
PC
even know
side.
the difference or what's in it if assholes like us weren't talking about it on the internet. They wouldn't care because they're going to see the games and they're going to get their fucking minds blown.
Well, that's the thing is, like,
they're going to look good. It doesn't make a difference. What's going to make the difference is of course, well, the main thing that really matters at this point, it doesn't even matter whether it's Vega, Polaris, whatever, is that we have a better, more efficient CPU that will bottleneck this. Yeah.
At the end of the day, like I could care less, and I think the rest of the gamers out there could care less if a fucking gerbil was in there spinning out a fucking. As long as it delivers what Microsoft fucking says it's going.
Gerbil shit keeps falling out of my Xbox.
You've seen these little.
I mean, look. I mean, at the end of the day, right? I mean, look. I mean, on the PC side, you can sit there and you can run an i3 or whatever, basically run stuff higher at a faster rate because the CPU is just faster.
I'm looking at it at a standpoint of like price point is everything for the console market, right? So if they do have a Puma variant with like maybe some Ryzen tech, because they do that all the time. The same with Polaris, and they could throw some Vega tech in it as well, because that's what they do when they rebrand fucking graphic cards all the time in fucking PC.
Oh yeah.
If they do that, like, you're definitely looking at a $399 price point, no doubt in my freaking mind, and that's going to be fucking stellar.
That is the thing, right? Because people are like, "Oh man, it's just a Pro, not much more powerful than the Pro." I'm like, look, nothing changes. It's still 6 teraflops versus 4.2.
Exactly.
How the hell is that?
It's not much more power. Like, you just hyped up half?
Yeah, like hold on. They hyped up 1.8 versus 1.4 almost. as being 50% more powerful.
Exactly.
And I still
And this
have
is
not
like-
had to eat dog shit.
And I just got a
because
comment
I
today
swore-
where some guy's like, well, it's still the same performance delta. And it's like, no, it's not, because it's on the numbers are much higher. 50% is much, much different when it comes to 4 versus 6. You know, I got out of 0.6 of a T-flop when I upgraded my GPU, I got a 30 FPS boost to performance. Going from a 660 to a 960 one time, I got 30 FPS boost. And that's 0.6 of a T-flop difference from 1.8 to 2.4. So you're saying Scorpio should have a minimal of 40 FPS boost over the Pro of overhead. I say around 60 by the end of the day. And that's, you know, also not even taking into account that you got another 4 gigabytes of DDR5, 100 more gigabytes of second memory bandwidth, and 4K textures are going to be more than possible, according to Ralph Fulton of Playground Games, who's pretty much already said Forza Horizon 3 will have 4K textures on the Scorpio version. So that's another.
They're making difference. 2 games now. They're making an open world game and also probably Forza Horizon 4. So I mean, they're one of the better devs. I would actually, well, you know what would make me feel good is if Microsoft bought that studio.
Yeah, they should have jumped on that a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
I mean, now
it's just going to cost them more now.
Yeah, I mean, they're a great studio. They're obviously they're using the Forza tech anyway. You know what I mean? That's shared tech. So and they got Turn 10 people. Yeah,
like
Turn 10
be able to do what they do without Turn 10. Turn 10 literally do everything with the cars. Turn 10 give that to them.
Yeah.
Turn 10 are the ones building all the cars, the physics, everything. Playground Game just get that sent to them, and then they kind of tweak a little bit less realistic physics for Horizon 3, and then they basically are responsible for doing the map and what story there is. But without Turn 10, they couldn't churn out that game every 2 years, not even close.
Yeah.
I just want to touch on like the white paper thing in general, right? Like people coming out here and like are saying this is like a negative thing. Actually, it's a really positive thing that you're seeing this stuff in there. And you know, it says, hey, 6 teraflops. You know, the CPU is whatever you want to think it is and speculate on. That's fine. But at the end of the day, I think Scorpio is going to be great. But then people are going on to like the half resolution, the dynamic resolution, the sparse rendering, and all that stuff. Hey, that stuff's been around for fucking years and years and years.
Which leads. Go ahead.
And if you think like because like Scorpio has this or anything like it's less power, no, it's because Microsoft knows some game engines out there just need a shit ton of power that just Scorpio doesn't have, so they need some other things to get it up to the 4K, and that's just how it is.
Yep. And that was I wanted to lead into sparse rendering with that.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us what sparse rendering is.
People are like blowing this out of proportion because they don't know what it is. But sparse rendering is something that's been used on the PC since 4K was a thing. So basically what they'll do with sparse rendering is they'll have a native 4K frame buffer, but things inside of that image you're seeing on your screen, like trees, grass, god rays, etc., will not be rendered at 4K along with the polygon count or the pixel count on screen, right? That's an example of sparse rendering. So PC has been doing this forever. That's just one way of saying, hey, not everything in this game world is going to be native 4K, but the image is 4K. You're utilizing that panel, right?
I mean, look at Quantum Break. It's a good example of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and with Xbox Scorpio's kind of own checkerboard method, which I said several times with Beastfire, what makes you think, Sony fanboy, that they're not going to have their own technology like that, right? They can do the same thing, but run all their shit at 60, for instance, right? It's just going to be, like you just said, a good way of getting games that aren't native 4K to actually scale correctly and fit your TV with that ridiculous pixel count. Because if you notice on older TVs, if you play The Witcher 3, for instance, when it downreses to 900p, on certain TVs, it doesn't look that great, but certain TVs, it looks much better, right? And that's because it's just the scaling technology and some of these TVs and things are just better. And that's just one example. Kind of the best way I can relate it to people is that without proper checkerboarding at a sub 4K resolution, it's not going to look nearly as clear as it possibly could. And that's their objective, is to get it at as high a resolution as possible while checkerboarding. So I don't know. It's just kind of the easiest way to break it down, in my opinion. I don't.
I mean, and I'll also throw out too for the gist that I got out of the white paper was a lot of that was geared more towards third parties who are already developing a game currently.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Or engines like Frostbite and all that kind of stuff that are just
look, here's the thing.
It's
like
stuff that already exists.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we know first-party games are going to scale very well on it because Microsoft does a good job with scaling their first-party games already.
Well, they're going to run 4K 60 native anyway.
That's funny. Anyway, what I wanted to say was, like, people were making all this news out to be bad, like you guys were saying, right? They're like, it's just a pro, blah, blah, blah. Like, I was thinking the opposite. I'm like, look, right from the beginning, Phil said developers are free to use the power however they want. It doesn't have to be 4K.
It's
Microsoft were the one. Yes, Microsoft were the ones that said, okay, our first party games are going to be native 4K. But guess what? First party games are easier to do that stuff to. You optimize it, DirectX 12, UWP, all that stuff. It's going to be super easy for them to do that stuff. If you want to know what I'm talking about, look at like Gears 4, beautiful game. It hits that magical 1080p 60 on the multiplayer, 1080p 30 on the single player. Not even Uncharted 4 did that. Uncharted 4 had to go drop down to 900p multiplayer. So they are some wizards. So you're still looking at,
if you compare that to Digital Foundry footage, we'll kind of point this out because we're going to get comments. Well, it's on low settings. Digital Foundry has already confirmed that it's a mix between hybrid, high and ultra at some points for Gears of War 4 on Xbox One, and that's at 1080, 60 frames per second. So it's not low settings. It's not even medium settings.
Yep. And plus, on some of the multiplayer, like the Horde mode, they're using cloud compute with that. So I think that people have to take into account that Microsoft's got a lot of tricks up the sleeves and things like that. Not only that, but if they're using slightly cheaper stuff to still achieve, a 4K console, again, that's going to be a $399 console. I mean, you're going to be able to play games at 4K for $399. That's huge.
Yeah, and here's the big difference, right? Like, especially for the people who are like real big on PC, and I consider myself a PC gamer as well, right? But not one of the people who's like, oh, PC master race, this and that, because I still prefer my console.
You son of a bitch. He always tries to shove that PC master race stuff up my ass. He's like,
but when I
up your ass.
But what I will throw out there, right? Like, if this thing comes out at $399, $400, or even $449, what are you gonna build PC wise at this point that'll be able to run things at 4K at decent settings at that price point?
Yeah, that also comes with a control. And we're talking to console dudes, because if you've already got a PC, then you're just going to buy a $200 GPU late this year or next year that'll be easily the same performance. But if you're going to PC, you're going to spend more. I say around $700 because Windows 10 isn't free anymore or anything. Nope. You're going to spend around $700 to get similar performance, and that's without a wireless controller. Probably no games. None of your Xbox games come with you. Keep in mind, everything you bought already transfers forward. So all those games you've invested in come with you, and you don't got to worry about keyboard and mouse when it comes to multiplayer. That's my number one reason for not going to PC gaming if you're a console dude, because you will get dominated if you do not want to use keyboard and mouse.
I will say this: when Coalition was like, we're gonna do a little trial thing, PC players versus console players in a playlist, I boycotted that game. I didn't make a big deal out of it, but I stayed away from that game.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't mind.
It's up to them to segregate those people that use keyboard and mouse, right? Like, they're eventually going to bring keyboard and mouse to Xbox. We know that. It's important for them to separate that, because I understand how ridiculously dominant precision of the mouse is over the controller.
Yeah, if you're just halfway, you could just be even halfway decent. With a keyboard and mouse.
And the recoil. There is no recoil on PC. I mean, it's ridiculous.
My mouse wouldn't be that good because my mouse kind of sucks. I always got to shake it and shit. Like, I'm like, come on. Work. Like, seriously.
I think it's cool, like, to have like those lobbies and shit and just be able to jump in and have a good time. Like, even if you do get wrecked, it's not a big deal to me. I don't really care. But I wouldn't mind the option, though, to have a good time with it.
Yeah. Yes, I can officially say in the chat box I did get into the Sea of Thieves beta, but I can say no more.
Yep.
So, I mean, outside of saying that I was in it, I can't say any more about it. Arg, matey, swab me deck, flow me timbers.
The plank.
I can say nothing about it aside. You're allowed to say you're in it, but that's it. Aside from that, but
get it, bastards.
Yeah,
I didn't get that shit.
But pre-alpha, I can say that it was still one of my most anticipated games of this year. So, and that hasn't changed. So, yeah. Incredible. Hellhammer, when I was talking to you about these papers and stuff, and you said there was something interesting, and then you went on this long thing, like how they're going to actually make the games like this. What is it, an XDK where they just push a button and then that one's for PC, that one's for Xbox One, that one's for Scorpio.
That's what I was getting at, how this was basically more for third-party developers, right? So the gist that I got out of reading it, I mean, I read over it probably relatively quickly. It's just that this was, more geared towards like third-party developers and that sort of thing. And this is made so that when later on, when there's going to be a new development kit later this year, that basically people are going to be able to kind of, UWP, basically take a game that they already have completed or partially already completed, compile it, run this thing, at a higher resolution or higher, settings, basically, without having to sit back and go and recode anything on the game.
So I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to be the asshole to ask you the question that everyone's wondering since you read over them or whatever. Does it have a built-in foot job machine?
I'm going to say no.
What? I ain't buying the fucking thing then. I ain't doing it.
I mean, like, I don't know. That's kind of weird, dealer. I mean, foot jobs. I don't know.
That's a little odd.
Hey, into what he's into.
Of course. I'm kidding, of course.
Yeah.
Good news. It's easy porting. That's basically what that means.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's
did you guys see the timeline from this thing? It's like Project Scorpio porting optimization E3. And that's like highlighted a certification for Gamescom. Like that's when games are getting certified. Gamescom, so 823 to 827. So that's the roadmap. And I think that's fucking pretty cool that, so we know that games specific for Scorpio, like I know they're not exclusive, but the certification process is going to be Gamescom, which is right at the porting optimization is happening at E3. Project Scorpio readiness is they say it's going to be, let's see, GDC 227, XFest UK, XFest. What the hell is XFest US?
Nope. I don't. That's kind of what I was looking at when I was looking at this too. I was like, XFest. What is
that?
That
was the only thing that surprised me in the whole entire paper. That you said.
That's XFest.
I am alive.
XFest in the UK is like the Xbox festival, basically, right? Like the fan festival kind of thing.
That's
kind of
what
their
I was
own.
thinking.
It's like kind of like a smaller, like kind of like the PlayStation crap that they do and that sort of thing. Like,
well, it was in Australia when they did it, and they did one in Mexico last year. They brought all these different games for like gamers to try, and then it was free, so obviously anyone was able to go to it. They interacted with everybody, and so it was a pretty it was something very interesting, and a lot of fans really loved it. So the fact that
it doesn't currently happen in the States at all. Is that something?
Yeah, it doesn't really. Yeah, only E3 really in the States.
Huh. So maybe they are considering some kind of event.
I always thought that. I always thought that they needed to have an event. Like I know people would hate on that or whatever, but they only did the one E3 last year, really.
But see, that's where the main question comes in. Now, I did see this on the documents that you sent, but the question more or less is the US one going to be replacing the FanFest for E3? Because of how much of a hassle.
But hang on, what if they're not even like FanFest though? What if they're actually just like closed events for media to get their hands on the games for Scorpio and all that kind of stuff too? Because they do that a lot as well. So,
well, here's the thing. I would say they do FanFest during E3, which is 6/13 through 6/15, according to this.
But what if they're not doing it this year? It's not a guaranteed that they do it. That's the thing. And they had a lot of issues last year when getting people in because of how many people actually showed up that they didn't expect to have. So they ended up having to do randomized and then giving out tickets. And then there's so many people that were really upset. So they had to let more people in who they weren't expecting to let in.
They were only expecting 500 people and a couple thousand showed up. And Greenberg apparently was very stressed about that whole scenario.
Yeah,
heard all about that.
So what if instead this whole FanFest kind of thing is actually more or less something like that, where they did in Mexico and what they did in Australia to give to the US instead of actually allowing fans to go to E3?
I mean, you could be right. I mean, because they're doing a couple of them. I doubt they would do.
What if the
I doubt they would do
the reveal for Scorpio 2? I mean, I know you said it was like May, but like
I heard May.
Close.
So yeah,
I tend to think that this seems to be more like a thing where they just kind of go around a couple major cities and kind of show it off. Show off either upcoming games or whatever the case may be. I mean, I think that everything as far as how E3 is set up, I don't think this is going to affect it.
So for those wondering, like paths to release Project Scorpio capable titles can take several paths to become Project Scorpio enabled. With no extra title development effort, all titles built against existing approved XDKs are guaranteed by policy to function on Project Scorpio hardware. This is one of the reasons that symbols are requested along with submissions as best practice. Make use of dynamic resolution scaling and author your titles to be change resilient. This approach won't make explicit use of new hardware capabilities found on Project Scorpio, but will implicitly take advantage of some performance gains in the new console. So basically, they're saying you can get the 4K textures and all that stuff with no just with the XDKs.
This has pretty much already been done on Xbox One. The perfect examples we already covered is The Witcher 3. When it knows it's got the overhead, ambient occlusion is activated. It looks like higher texture details even activated. I'm not sure, but several things are ramped up in those dialogue scenes as well as resolution. And that's an example of kind of building that into your game. When it knows it's got the overhead, it will activate that graphics technology and that higher resolution. It's already been done. I mean, that's very smart.
And if you read that paper, actually, it even says that Microsoft wants the 100% of the GPU usage all the time. I've wasted site.
Yeah, they don't want the pro scenario where you're playing a game on both and you can't. There's no difference because there's no patch, right? Just like Xbox One S, it should be fairly automatic because it already knows that it's a little faster and it's not even up to the developer. It's just going to run faster.
I mean, that's just built into their dev kits. I mean, that's just how it goes. That's what I was pointing out on that. Was that's really good tech. That means that even if the developer says, "Hey, I'm not going to release a patch for it," you may still see a better performing game, just like how.
Well, like they were saying, like dynamic resolution and all that stuff, like with like Halo and all that kind of stuff, is going to run better on the Scorpio and stuff. It's going to be similar to that, like.
Yeah, if it's dynamic, it will. If X1 game right now, like Halo's dynamic, it will constantly be pinged out at that maximum enabled resolution. And I think you'll see a lot more frame rate caps in the options menus for games. So if you got a Scorpio, uncap that frame rate, you get 60 FPS with no work from the developer.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the summary. It's like that, and this is talking to developers. It's like ensure your title is
developers.
It's like ensure your title is already taking advantage of dynamic resolution and change resilient. That is CPU scalable coding practices. Evaluate blah blah blah. Yeah, I mean this is like some interesting stuff.
Evaluate blah blah blah. You just get
I'm trying to read this, but my eyes are hurting.
Evaluate blah 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 with some
blah blah blah. I mean, look.
Like, I want to know what you're talking about because I didn't read that.
Yeah, well, look, they're like what they're doing is basically saying, if you're shipping your game prior to Scorpio, make sure you have it so it's scalable and etc. And they want to try and keep down the post-Scorpio patches because basically this is confirming that a lot of games are going to get post-launch support. So I would expect like a lot of games that are coming out like earlier in the year and stuff to get Scorpio patches and things like that.
I got a question for everybody here. If you had one game that you like, we already know some like Fallout 4 obviously is getting one that's been confirmed, but if you had one game to get a patch and fully take advantage of 60 FPS ultra blah blah blah, what would it be? Mine would be The Witcher 3.
That would be mine as well, The Witcher 3. That would
next.
I mean, absolutely.
Didn't they already say though like those guys ain't patching anything?
Yeah, they mentioned it on the Pro, but as you remember, they had marketing rights with Xbox and stuff. They might do it with Xbox.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. You know what? I would like to see. Well, I'll probably have already definitely beat Mass Effect by then. What's a game that I would still?
Yeah, Mass Effect. I know that's coming for sure.
Yeah. Well, even though they kind of downplayed it, but they're like, if we do a Game of the Year version, we'll be sure to.
They did that. There's people out there just like me. I even considered it, and I'm a massive Mass Effect fan. I was like, man, maybe I should just wait. That's why I'm waiting for Prey 2. I'm going to play it on Scorpio. I'm going to play through it on Scorpio first and not play it twice, right? That's what I was thinking with Mass Effect. Like, that's a huge game. I don't want to play through it all twice. Just to get the benefits of this brand new console. Maybe what if I wait, right? And then they say that, so I'm like, fuck it, I'll just go ahead and buy it now and play it anyway. So that's exactly what they don't want you holding off. They don't want you holding off. They want that money locked in and whatnot. So it'll come. I know it will.
I think I'd like to see Halo 5 though.
I'm gonna agree with GKB on that. I would love to see Halo 5. I know for sure that Gears 4 is going to get that update. But yeah, I think Halo 5 would be.
Well, here's obvious, and Forza Horizon 3 because they're already on DLC.
And Battlefield 1, Battlefield 1 will get one as well. That's a non-thought.
And we already know Gears 4 is going to get it because it already scales up to 4K on the PC.
Yeah, but just real quick, I wanted to make a point. Like a lot of people were like, so it's going to be a 4K console as well. And my point to that was it was never promised to be full 4K for everything. Only the Xbox One exclusive titles. The developers can do what they want. Yes, the developers are free to do what they want with the power, whether it be 1080 60, 1440 60, whatever. They're allowed to do what they want. However, they're going to be able to hit 4K more often on the Xbox Scorpio than say PS4 Pro. Like PS4 Pro, I think there's hardly any games running native 4K unless they're like smaller titles or last gen remakes or whatever. So that's going to be kind of the major difference there. And also, but
they had the big deal that Skyrim could run on 4K on it, even though Skyrim can run on 4K on a fucking wristwatch.
Yeah, I mean, look, Skyrim's running on the Switch. Enough said. You know what I mean? Even though I'm happy about that.
I mean, it's not even taking anything away from Skyrim either. I love that game, but it literally will run on anything.
Yeah.
It's not
I know.
quite the same scenario as the Pro though. Like people are saying, it's just like the Pro, and it's like no, because you're gonna have next level textures alone. The 4K textures, and like I said, the 4 extra gigabytes of RAM. It's still at 8 gigs of RAM. Yeah, I'd be like, it's just gonna be like the Pro. Maybe we'll get more 60 FPS titles, but with that extra RAM, they can do a lot more with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. That the VRAM, having the extra access for VRAM, right? Like that's why we've seen that big shift. Just these past 6 to 12 months on the PC side of moving up to 6+ gigs of VRAM, because that's basically what's required in order to do anything in 4K.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to quickly answer Dealer's question though. For me, I would want actually Titanfall 1.
Titanfall 1?
Oh,
yeah.
She likes Titanfall 1. I mean, you're good at Titanfall 2 though. Why not Titanfall 2?
I may be good at it.
Is it because of the batteries?
Sure. I hate the rodeo. There's a few things about Titanfall 2 I hate. I want for them to give me the perfect game, they need to give me Titanfall 1 multiplayer, but give me Titanfall 2's campaign. Put those two together, and it'd be
basically the game that should have come out anyway.
The game that should have came out.
Yep.
Hey,
and give me different boss battles.
Here's something interesting that came out that I actually would be interested in. Rumor that LA Noire remaster possibly coming to Xbox One.
I saw that, dude. That's pretty
cool.
Love
that game.
I'd be in for that.
I would totally
that was a great game.
I really, really like that game. I thought it dragged on, like that last part was a little bit like
when you're on the stupid fire desk
when
or whatever.
You get busted down. But still, I absolutely love that game because it's open world, but not so open world that I hate it like Grand Theft Auto. It's like open world, kind of like Mafia 3, which, by the way, I beat Mafia 3. That game has some weird glitches and stuff, but it was a fucking phenomenal game.
I still want to know what the fuck happened to my car.
Dude, Hellhammer posts this clip, right? And he's driving and he stops. He gets out of the car and the fucking car blows up because there's this car, like a car pops in right next to him. Like,
it's on top of my car. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like weird shit like that did have. Like, I've never had a game where you get into the car and the fucking car won't start. Right? That happened to me in that game. Like, I'm trying to start this mission, so I go get in the car and it goes,
Yeah.
Like if the car was the car damaged, because then the cars don't start if they get
brand
to
new car.
Yeah,
brand new car.
Brand new.
Was it a Chrysler?
No.
It was at least
so yanked that distributor, bro. They took that shit.
Trying to start it, but I mean.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know, but I love that game, and I got to tell you, it crashed on me probably about 8 times. Just like you're playing it, and it randomly crashed.
Oh
but
my god!
Even with that stuff, that game was fun. Like the soundtrack is amazing. Like I just want to say that game is fucking really, really good.
Yeah, that was probably one of my favorite games.
Really underrated. Really underrated. Should have came out in like a month, not 3 or 4 months ago. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I'll definitely 100% say that I agree with that statement. Who here has the new Xbox One dashboard?
I do.
You're the only one?
Crickets.
Yeah, am I the only person that has to do dash?
Jesus, I don't even have it.
I dropped out of the preview. I was having too many problems. Really.
Oh yeah.
So,
well, I didn't get it, but Hellhammer, give us a rundown. What is your thoughts on the new dash? There's no snap. How fast did you learn it? Is it faster? Is it?
The dashboard itself is much faster. I feel that the games run a little bit quicker as well. It seems like I have a little bit less load time on some of the games. I might have put some of that overhead over towards that.
Yeah, did you see Mikey Barr tweeted out that they freed up resources by doing that, and those resources are coming for bigger things, quote unquote. So,
and it'd be interesting to compare install times before and after that update as well.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to do that because I haven't had anything to install. But everything that's on here, though, that works great. I like how the new achievement tracker. I mean, you can basically have transparent achievements.
That's cool. That overlay is awesome.
Yeah, the overlay. Cool. I mean, it gives you the option to put it at the top right, bottom left, top left, whatever. That works really well. I was using that through playing a little bit of Watch Dogs earlier. Doesn't really get in the way too much or anything like that. I mean, the whole thing just works great. The only thing I find that's odd, homepage now, and you don't have the big tile for the game you had open. I think that looks kind of weird. They need to put something either like they need to either make the tile like wide, like the widescreen looking tile, like they do on the PC. Sort of like on the Windows 10 menu, how that makes this kind of fits it up, feels a little bit better.
So I got a question for you. Have you been on any media apps since you got the update?
I have not actually.
Don't you live on Media Player?
Well, I was just wondering, like a lot of times when I'm on YouTube, I like to hit the guide and it's still playing on the active tile or whatever it's called, but it's not full screen. I wonder how that works like on YouTube now, if that's even still a thing, or is it just
they totally stopped Snap? You can't do that. There is no more game thing. It's
Snap
just
anymore.
Yeah. I mean, not Snap, but like when you're on YouTube and you hit the guide button, right? It sends you to the dash, but you still got that tile with your YouTube video or whatever still playing.
Yeah. You don't have anything like that on there so far with just the games. As far as I haven't, like I guess I haven't tested it on any of the media apps. I've just been gaming for the past couple of days.
I was hoping that I would get it. I'm in the preview program, but I haven't got it yet. So I don't know. That's weird. But I did get into the Sea of Thieves beta, and Hellhammer didn't.
I put a lot of bug reports in on the dash. I will say
so did I. I complained like a motherfucker because like a lot of times when I loaded up YouTube, like I'd have to back out of it and close the application because it wouldn't let me scroll. So I complained about that nonstop.
I will say one glitch that I've used quite a bit of it aside from the media apps. Again, because I just haven't had a chance. I've been using my computer mostly for media these past few days. But I will say that. The one glitch that I have run across, which is slightly annoying, is sometimes when starting the game, 2 times or so, it'll be like, we're unable to download that. I'm not sure what the hell it's even talking about because there's no updates or anything like that, and it'll launch the 3rd time perfectly fine.
So
it's like a weird glitch. I have, and it happens. It's rare too, right? Like I've had it happen, multiple times, but it's been like 4 times total. But I've launched probably a game 30+ times.
Yeah, it is. It's a beta. It's a big ass beta.
Yeah. I mean, I have put a report in for it. So, I mean, it's not like it's anything that breaks anything. It still works. It's just a little bit of a nuisance to have to restart the game.
Yeah, you can put that I see somebody talking about the For Honor beta. I hated that game. I'm just saying that game.
Oh, really,
awful.
dude? Come on.
Yeah, no, dude. Listen, GKB, did you play it? Like, okay. Here's the thing. It's not like I figured. Okay, you go out there, you start like hitting the button and hitting people, right? It's not like that. It's like you got a whole thing.
Button masher, dude.
Be a little more strategic.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah, Crapgamer just likes to mash buttons. Like the other day, play Watch Dogs 2, right? And he's like, "What do I do now?" He's like trying to figure out how to open up like the menus and I'm just like,
Yeah, I was like, how do I download the apps on this? And he's like, oh man, you're gonna quit this game so fast. I was like, no, man, I'll figure it out. Man, come on.
Next thing you know, he's like he's got like the equivalent of like a 4-star or a 5-star one-hit level on that damn thing.
Yeah, I was accidentally hitting. And you know what I didn't know about that game, Watch Dogs 2? Like random people can be in your game. So one minute I got like a 5-star wanted level. I got cops chasing me, and then this dude like follow me all around, and he hops in my car and shit. And you know what I mean? I don't know. It was just kind of weird, but it was kind of funny. I was like really enjoying that. A little bit of good news. Some people were worried that Kingdom Hearts 3 wasn't going to come to Xbox One. Square put the logo back, and so now it is officially back on, coming to Xbox One. She-Wolf, you can chime in because I know you like Kingdom Hearts. Is that exciting?
Crickets.
Nothing. Okay.
Why the hell did they remove the logo in the first place? I mean, that's the question. Why did they remove it?
They said they were like redoing the website or something like that. And
right, but they just remembered to put the PlayStation 1 in there, but not the Xbox.
It's kind of weird.
After they were like, hey Phil, you need to give us a little bit more money, and Phil's like, God damn it, whatever.
Phil's like, how about you go fuck yourself and make games properly like you're supposed to?
Yeah. Well, look,
and they're like, I don't speak English now.
Oh. Jokes, people, just jokes. It's just all jokes.
Remember,
we're all
anything
good.
I say or vice versa, you hold each person accountable to their own jokes and statements, right?
Yeah, it's all good. I'm happy that they put it on there because people I was always saying that some of the big JRPGs and stuff, I'm perfectly happy with those coming on Xbox. Like the smaller ones and stuff, I really couldn't care less. I've enjoyed the Final Fantasy 15. What I've played, I'll go back to it after I
think that's my next game after Watch Dogs.
Pretty good, but again, they westernized it quite a lot, and they you know what I mean, and they went ahead and that's what I'm saying. Like you were saying, Dealer, with Resident Evil 7, which was that they really westernized it. I prefer that. It's not a knock on any other culture or anything, but I prefer like the more like I like my football games. That's Madden for those of you that were like gonna be like soccer, huh? No, I don't play FIFA. I'm playing football.
You fucking casual.
Exactly. So I like playing my football. I like playing my my Call of Duty, my Halo, my Gears. I like fighting games. I like Killer Instinct. I like a lot of different games, but for the most part, I'm not real big into like the Japanese style games.
And you're not alone. We've all seen those sales over here in the
Western
US.
Western RPGs, first-person shooters, racing games, and platformers are what I like to play. So,
exactly.
Again,
hey, we're close to 300 likes.
Oh.
Can you, some of you lazy fucks, hit the like button? Yeah, help me out. Yeah. Hit that like button. But yeah, like, go ahead.
I think it's cool, man. Like, I'm excited for Kingdom Hearts 3 coming to Xbox. I liked all the other Kingdom Hearts, and I think as far as like a JRPG goes, I think that's more westernized than people think it is because it's got Disney characters, and
it's got a lot of Western characters in it.
Yeah. So I mean, it appeals to me like crazy because I like Goofy and Donald.
Well, plus, I mean,
Little Mermaid and
I haven't actually played a Kingdom Hearts game, to be honest, but this game does look interesting to me. Yeah, I haven't played one. I never played one.
I'm going to quickly chime in here. When it comes to Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm super happy that it's coming to Xbox, but my only concern is, for instance, for people like you guys who haven't played Kingdom Hearts, if you haven't played the first ones, it does kind of make it a little confusing on what this one is going to be about if they don't actually add something to the story. Really? Why?
He's like, I never knew what was going on.
Well, I mean, that's a good point, actually, because if you look at like other RPGs, like I can get into any Final Fantasy game. I don't need to play the other ones to know that it's a Final Fantasy.
But that's the thing about Kingdom Hearts, though, is it went from like when he was a child going up into like each story connected into the other. That's the way that Kingdom Hearts kind of worked, and if you haven't played the other ones, like, yes, okay, you can still enjoy this one because it still is a more of a story, like just a fighting based kind of game. But to understand the story, if they don't implement the other ones somehow into it, it will be confusing for people who are big.
It's going to be confusing for like the first few minutes, and then once you get into the story, you start to see what's going on. You'll be fine. I wouldn't worry.
I feel like I'm gonna pick it up pretty quickly, and if I can't, then I'll just look it up on YouTube. I'll see it. I'll be like, what's this?
Those guys are old enough too, where it would be kind of smart and probably a welcome remaster to many people if they just brought those older Kingdom Hearts games.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
I don't see why they don't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could get them on PlayStation, but that's not my console of choice. I
think it'll come to Xbox eventually.
Oh yeah, well. But
I mean, look, even Final Fantasy 7 is going to come to Xbox. So I mean, like a lot of people are really excited for that. I couldn't care less, but
yeah, like Kingdom Hearts though. I mean, that is a very westernized game. I mean, that doesn't have turn based, right? That's actually like an action based.
Yeah, it's more of the action.
Yeah.
So I mean, but I still think that's cool. And like I know that there was people that was worried that game wasn't going to come to Xbox One. So now we know that it's coming to Xbox One.
I mean, I'll pick it up because I like RPGs.
There's no doubt it was coming.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of talk that it was canceled in general. It wasn't even just the fact that it may now have been coming to Xbox. There's a lot of talk that it was going to be canceled completely, which was really actually kind of devastating to hear. Because once again, I think Kingdom Hearts was probably one of the very first games that I actually sat and played like through the whole entire thing.
Yeah.
It's probably Kingdom Hearts. Well, yeah, because I love Sora and the fact that they take in like all the Disney characters. I am curious though to see if they're going to implicate new characters other than just the standard like Mickey and all of them. If they're going to like add in new characters that aren't as much of Disney base.
Like
I think they need to put Star Wars characters.
Luke Cage in there, right? Luke Cage is in the game.
Yeah. Daredevil. Yeah, I mean, I think put Captain America in there, man. I want to see. Put
like Deadpool in there.
Put Han Solo in there. I mean, really get it.
Darth Vader beating
Spider-Man.
Yeah. I would actually love to see some Star Wars.
Come on,
that'd be cool.
Well, hey, let's be like, come on,
phenomenal.
Disney Infinity did it, so
yeah, exactly. I have Disney. Oh shit, I shouldn't have said that. Yeah.
Hey, there's 2 new Xbox is back.
Funny is Avalanche Studio gets closed down. They were making the Disney Infinity stuff.
Warner Brothers buys them.
Yeah, now Warner Brothers buys them, and they get a contract with Disney to make licensed Disney
game.
For the new
Cars
movie or
3
whatever.
or something like that.
So like that is like such a weird story that happened. But 2 new Xbox One bundles, a Halo Wars 2 bundle, and a Forza Horizon 3 bundle. I think if they would have done the Forza Horizon 3 bundle last year, they probably would have won November NPD because like Forza Horizon 3 was amazing. Like I think they underestimated.
Why'd they wait so long?
It's like, oh gee, now they realize after it's like a 90+ Metacritic and everybody loves it and it wins Best Racer of the Year and all this stuff. People are like, put this and give it its own bundle or whatever. But I still think it's cool. In the Halo Wars 2, I didn't expect them to give it a bundle because it's a. Yeah.
It's kind of funny, though, the fact that they didn't, because Forza Motorsport 6, when they released the custom console, that actually sold quite a bit.
Yeah. I was so close to buying it.
You guys have it?
Yeah, we
have one.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, like I think that hey, we're 5 likes away from 300. Come on, help
Come on,
me
5.
Out,
come on, let's go.
Don't make me e-bag. Come on, guys, let's do it. Yeah, so like
Cartman when you do that.
But yeah, like I'm excited about it. Like I didn't think they'd do the Halo Wars 2 one because that's kind of a niche title, but the point is, I think like people that like maybe like RTS, there's not any RTSs I think this generation.
I think the other thing too is that they're trying to get that title to be bigger, right? I mean, so you give it away to people, right? Some people don't like racing games at all, so if you go into the store and you have a choice between,
there's your 300.
Hell yeah! Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Thanks for rocking out with me.
So I mean, it's just good that Microsoft's giving people a choice with what game that gets bundled with their system.
I think Halo Wars 1 sold around 5 million copies.
Yeah, Halo Wars 1 actually did really well.
Donnie D, shout out to Zaire. Your boy Donnie D closed down that studio before I mean, it's the most successful console RTS of all time, but let's close down the studio.
Yeah, one of the most successful RTSs of all time. Yeah, with those numbers.
Yeah. Let's go ahead. And even though there was an achievement, see you for the sequel or something like that. But like who knew? Like this, the people doing it, Creative Assembly.
Yep.
They do a lot of RTSs and stuff like that too. And they also do that Alien game that I have, but haven't played it because it looks scary.
What, Alien Isolation?
The only thing I'm gonna say is where is my Age of Empires?
For real?
Yeah, you know what?
Just give it to me. Just give me Age of Empires 2 in HD.
I used to really like
giving that to it on Xbox.
If you like Age of Empires, man, I'm telling you, go on Steam and buy Rise of Nations, the Gold Edition or whatever. It's way better than Age of Empires. And Microsoft actually bought that franchise as well, Rise of Nations, to my knowledge. So that's a much better RTS.
I didn't know that. That's cool. That's awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Well, Age of Empires really just comes back to a lot of nostalgia on that for me. That was like one of the few games I played a long time ago on PC.
Yeah,
I used to like playing RTS games on like the DS and stuff because I was really set up well for using the touchscreen and stuff, like to control your troops or whatever. So yeah, I like those type of games. Like I know I'm not a PC guy, but those are still some of my favorite types of games. And it's good to see variety. And when I say variety, again, I see a lot of like the PlayStation fans. They're like, yeah, we want variety. We want Yakuza. We want Gravity Rush 2, and we want Nihon and Persona, and those are all like Japanese style games, which that's not variety. That's just you just want Japanese games. Like if you want Japanese,
they want a variety. they want a variety of Japanese games, right? Like,
so they should just say that. Like for me, variety means RTS, fighting, racing, shooters.
Like, we
you know
already
what I mean?
got there's already some decent JRPGs and stuff on the Xbox One, like that Earthlock game that was given away for free. Like, people just underrate that game. That game was actually really good.
Yeah,
I couldn't get into that.
Like, if you're into that kind of.
Into it either. You know what game Hellhammer loves is that damn, what the hell is that Zelda-esque game that you're playing?
Oceanhorn. That game is
Oceanhorn is fantastic, man.
Yeah, that is a fantastic game.
I like that game good, but I could not figure out what the hell I was doing.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, a lot of people are like, "Hey, it's like super Zelda-ish, like old school Zelda." And so,
it is.
I mean, it looks pretty good. She-Wolf, Alice Madness Returns got backwards compatibility. What was funny was, Hellhammer actually had bought this game last year when it was like $3 or something, and I didn't realize it.
Yeah, it was like $3 or $4 or something like that.
Yeah, he's like, I bought it last year. He's like, and I said, oh, really? So I check, and then boom, I could download it. I was playing it yesterday for about 3 or 4 hours. I gotta say, that game holds up well. So far, I like it. It's weird as shit, but I really am enjoying it. The platforming is a little bit tough, but I'm getting the hang of it. Just really good game. I like it. Like, it's cool to me that I can play these games and they still look good. And I think the game runs really good too. Like, it runs phenomenally well on the Xbox One. And so I think that that's really cool. And like, just going forward, I like the fact that I can play like 360 games. Like, I have an Elite controller, so I like playing the games on the Elite controller. I don't have to go back to the 360, even though I like that console. You know what I mean?
I mean, everybody's 360s are getting kind of old, and who wants to bother booting up a new system when you already have one hooked up, right? Like, I don't even have a 360 hooked up. I have my Xbox One and my PC hooked up, and that's it.
Yeah,
options are good, right?
What are your thoughts? Because I know you were like asking for this game to go backwards. You like hounded the developer.
Yeah, she did. She hounded EA too, man. She was like, EA, you better fucking do this.
I did. I found the actual developer, and he actually wrote me back. Like, when I actually contacted him, he actually wrote, like, because this is when backwards compat first, was announced and stuff. And so I found him and I messaged him, and he wrote me back, and he's like, I would love to bring it to all you gamers and stuff like that. He's like, that would have been an amazing feature for this game. And he's like, however, I don't own it anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't own it anymore. And he's like, I sold it to EA. And he's like, so anything that happens with this game is now all their rights. He's like, but you can be prepared for my sequel coming out in the future. I'm like, well, that doesn't help me now.
He's like, I got a new game, goddammit.
And so then, which sadly for him, he had some personal stuff going on because his sister actually went missing, and so there's a big thing there. But other than that, though,
his sister got kidnapped. But anyway,
who done it involved with this guy's sister?
I think She-Wolf did it just to get the backward compatibility. She's like, I got that.
No, I don't think so.
Backwards compatibility or else.
It was kind of funny though, because I said at the beginning of the year, I'm like, Microsoft, if I could have like one dying wish, it would be to get this game backwards compat. Like, this is like the only game that I wanted backwards compat, because I love this game. I really do. Like, I have like the original books from like when it was originally written and everything. Like, I've always loved Alice in Wonderland.
Did you 100% the game?
Actually, I did not on my Xbox yet. I actually played majority of it on GKB's Gamertag when because
you cheating fuck you sharing.
I didn't have.
I'm just fucking with you.
when we first met, I wasn't an Xbox gamer. I was a PC gamer. So
you've been converted. Congrats, GKB. Good job.
Yeah,
So I actually used his gamer tag when I was playing games and stuff like that for quite a while. And when this came 360 and stuff, I was playing it on there. I had fully beat it on PC, and I did beat it again on Xbox 360 through GKB's. And now I'm going to be replaying it, of course, because now I want all the achievements on my account. But it's just, oh my god, I was so happy. It like literally made my day. And then I also get the news that like they confirmed that Kingdom Hearts 3 is still going to be on Xbox One. So I was like, wow, can my day get any better? I was so happy.
My next big thing that I'm waiting for backwards compatibility is Dragon Age 2, because I only played that game once.
You know what's kind of funny
it is
though?
back compat, isn't it?
No, only the
Dragon
first
Age
one.
Origins is, yeah.
Origins, yeah.
You know
I could have
what's
swore
kinda
they just
funny,
announced
though?
Dragon Age 2 to be back compat.
May have to look that up.
Yeah, I wish they would because there's so much. Like I never played the DLC on that one, right? Like I played
Somebody should
I
Google
played
that
Origins.
because I'm pretty sure I just heard about that like a week or so ago. I don't
I'm
know.
gonna look it up.
But what I thought was kind of funny though is the fact that Alice Madness Returns is really not like, if you've never played it or never really heard of it, it's kind of one of those. It's a very interesting game, but not a super popular game. Like I had so many people ask me once it became backwards compat, is this game actually any good? And it's like, how did this one become backwards compat then? Because, you know, majority of games that actually have come backwards compat, a lot of people know, and they are like more popular style games and stuff like that. So I was just really surprised when they announced it, because obviously I've been waiting for it. But, you know, and it was the only one that came backwards compat that day.
Yeah.
Well, Microsoft did say that all of them would be back compat. It's all up to the studios to just kind of give the go ahead, right? So,
well, developers should see the money opportunities, but I will say that
EA really sees the opportunity for it. So.
Well, they would have to direct access to the numbers and stuff like that. But yeah, Dragon Age Origins is not Dragon Age 2 yet, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, like I like what they're doing with that. But also, like some games, like obviously if they have like licensed music and stuff, obviously wouldn't be able to be backwards compatible if the license runs out or whatever. There's like significant hurdles to get over. But like you could just see, like I remember when Red Dead Redemption went backwards compatible, that shot up to #1 on Amazon. Well, the GameStop started charging $30 for that thing again.
of course those fuckers would.
Yeah, price
Yeah, they're like $30. They're like, oh, backwards compatible, huh? And they like X out the $9.99 on that thing. You know what I mean? Like absolutely.
Then you're going out the door. Remember this when you're going all digital next year. Like,
compatible.
Yes.
They slap a compatible with Xbox One sticker on the front, and they call it a day. After that, after they mark it up 50% or more.
Jamie Moran's like, we need to get Assassin's Creed Rogue on backwards compatibility. I had that game. That was really good. Yeah, really good Assassin's Creed. Also, the last what the hell is that game that GKB likes a lot? Splinter Cell. Yeah. The last Splinter Cell, I had that. I think Calvision where it came with some jumbo plane or some shit.
Yeah, I have the one with the RC plane.
Yeah.
that was a good game. Blacklist.
Yeah, I played it for a little bit, but of course the Xbox One came out, so I put it on the back burner and never went back to it. But I really enjoyed what I played, so I think that would be like really, really cool to bring like those games backwards compatible, like the Splinter Cell games. I don't see why the Assassin's Creed games aren't backwards compatible yet, because I mean it only makes sense that they would be. I realize that they have the Ezio collection and stuff.
It's because the collection, anything that has I can guarantee anything that has a remaster is not going to ever get a backwards compatible.
Well, no, they already did that. They look BioShock collection, and you can play those games backwards compatible now.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
that was afterwards, though. Yeah, they released the collection.
Yeah,
later, like,
yeah, but look,
yeah, they released they released that edition after it was backwards compat versus whatever the case may be.
The thing with the backwards compatibility stuff, though, is there's going to be people that have already got the achievements that they can on there, and so they're going to want the better visuals and new achievements, and so they're going to buy that version. You know what I mean? That's my thinking now. I used to hate remasters, and now I get them because I know I'm going to have them
forever.
Yeah, like so that is like all the more I want the best looking versions that I can. Like that's why I bought the Arkham collection. That's why
why you won't see Darksiders become backwards compatible, because there's already the remasters.
Yeah, I should have picked that up when it was on sale. I seen GKB talking about it and stuff. I should have picked it up when it was on sale.
Yeah, what sucks is that I have Darksiders 2 remastered.
I do too. I have Darksiders 2 on 360, but I never played it. You know, it's like
I have the remastered one on the Xbox One, but it's a physical copy.
The War Mastered Edition, the first one is way better than the second one, dude. They did a really good job.
Oh yeah, I know. That's the one I wanted to get, but that one's still $20, as I have that on PC now.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that's pretty damn cool. And one last thing I wanted to talk about was maybe you guys have seen this, the Sony fans, and we actually haven't talked about Sony at all, I don't think, today, really. I mean, we might have mentioned PS4 a bit, but Sony fans are popping up wanting a PS5 reveal at this year's E3, and I just thought that was absolutely hilarious.
Like,
look, okay, like they just released 3 pieces of hardware with the Slim, the Pro,
and then you want
and the
another
VR.
one, a fourth one? Like, come on.
they're like, please take my money.
I tried to
Sony already
this to
sold
people,
some
right?
buildings just to release the Pro. They're not gonna
Yeah.
make more hardware to give
They're
you.
Sony's running low on buildings to sell over here. Come on.
I tried to explain to people that that's what Sega did that really lost consumer confidence. Don't think Sony's untouchable because they used to have consumer confidence with their electronics.
Well, that them
Right?
same
They
group
were-
of idiots are like, what the fuck's a Sega? Like they don't, you know what I'm saying? They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
Well,
people
to
don't
those
realize
that don't know,
that's
Sega used to release hardware really fast, one after the other, and then drop support of the hardware. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
And then people are like, okay, well, we're not going to buy your Dreamcast.
In fact, well, even to put it something even better, right? When Sega did this, Sega was one of the top companies. Didn't think that they had anything to worry about monetarily wise. They released an upgrade for their system, and then they released the system right after that and killed their brand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And it really
because
sucks because the Dreamcast was actually a really good console.
It was,
man.
but people had lost confidence in Sega.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they had because what Sega did was they're like, okay, here's the Genesis. Here's the Genesis. Now here's the Sega CD. Now here's the Sega 32X Saturn. Now here is the Sega Nomad and the Game Gear, and now here's the Dreamcast. Right? It's like people were like, we don't think you're going to support this because how many games did they put out for the Sega CD and for the 32X? Sony's kind of doing that weird type of thing.
32X is about 20 games. The Sega CD was about 150.
None of those platforms had the advantage of backwards and forwards compatibility. Pretty much. I mean, that's what really.
And look, the 32X was $150. Think about that back then. $150, and they dropped support on it like that. And so that's people's fears. Like, look at the PlayStation Move. Sony dropped support of that. Look at the Vita. Like, they're sure third parties are still putting some games on there, but nothing exclusive. Like from Sony, nothing big anymore.
That's because if you want to do mobile gaming, there's only one company to go to.
Yeah, well, I get that too, but still, the Vita is a quality handheld. It just really lacks the support from Sony. So Sony drops. Look at 3D gaming. How many games are in 3D? The VR thing is the next. I know people don't believe, but the VR is on the chopping block. Like Sony isn't talking about it. There's only 2 confirmed VR games releasing this year.
That's what I said earlier to you, right? When you said that you've always bit the bullet on the VR a couple of times. I said, just wait till next year when that thing's like half off or more.
Ben, and I can pick up rigs for $399.
Yeah.
yeah. Like I agree. Like I think that would be interesting. But like
100% accurate though, bro. They're not releasing more hardware. They literally just released PlayStation 4 Pro a few months ago, and the earliest you'll see PS5 is 2019 at the very earliest.
Yeah,
these like I said, that's at the absolute most.
And that's 2019 with them being seeing that they even hinted at new hardware or show anything or talk about it.
By then they'll say, "Well, PS5's out," and well, how about this Scorpio 2? You see what I just did there? So it's gonna be it's gonna be a leapfrog type thing forever. And right now, Microsoft had the advantage. Just hold on, lube up and hold on, because it's gonna be a rough ride for you dudes touting power for the last 4 years. That's just all you got to do. Hang in there.
Yeah.
Well, now they're quickly changing. Now they're quickly changing their direction. Now right now it's all about the games.
The games, yeah. Shoe Polisher 7's coming next month. A good exclusive.
Yeah. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Hey, I played that game. I platinumed it.
Play that shit, you'll get a job at any barbershop in the nation.
I platinumed mayonnaise or I am mayo in like 20 minutes, man. Like
Jesus.
51 trophies, man. That's like
they had 51 trophies for 20 minutes. Holy shit!
Yeah, I'm telling you, and it's only $1.
You just sit there and click the fucking button.
And then you pick
We're still waiting for that review, by the way.
Hey, in the review,
I got it coming.
Did they have any reviews complaining about using the A button too much or whatever?
Or was there too much sand?
No, no, that's only Xbox games can have.
Oh
those
yeah.
Come on, but we've taken up 2 hours of your guys' times. I'm gonna start the outros. GKB, what do you got going on this week, man?
Working on a bunch of videos for next week. We got Shop Podcast on Saturday, community game time. We're doing phone calls on the show now, so that was kind of fun.
I know. I called in. I was the first official caller.
You're like during the intro.
Like right away in the intro, I boss hogged my way in. I was like, well, I'm calling now.
I'm not waiting.
It teaches me to give crap information beforehand.
I was like, so what's the number on Skype? And she gave it to me. I was like, I'm calling in right now, and I did. So, but yeah, that is pretty damn awesome, man, and I look forward to that. She-Wolf, what do you got going? What game are we playing, She-Wolf, this Saturday?
We're actually playing Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. So.
Okay.
Oh, good thing me and Crapgamer broke that out the other day.
Yeah, we did, man.
Oh, so we can hear you yell and scream about how you're not going to play no more?
He's done. That's
only for the first 3 or 4 maps.
But
then he actually is done.
So community game time is Saturday 9:30 p.m. Eastern time on of course, Xbox Live. We are playing Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Everyone is welcome. Chat opens and fills up quick, so you have to make sure you get in there. If you can't get into the chat, you're still welcome to play the game, and we will be live streaming it on Beam as we have been for the last couple of weeks, where you can just hang out in the chat as well if you can't actually come play. So
yeah, you always gotta watch your shit talking in there, because
I don't think we watch it, bro, because we pretty much.
Yeah, I don't think anybody watches their shit talking.
Everybody's just last time we were all pirates the whole freaking time. Dude.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like, I remember, yeah, that was fucking fun. I was like, man, I don't know why I was a pirate.
Pirates will take over the community game time, 30J. I'm sure they will. But you can add me on Xbox at xshewolf with a U, not an O, if you want to get into that. And you can find me on Twitter and DM me any questions as well. So yeah, I got some new videos coming up on Gamers Knows Best channel, and next week his videos are releasing, but the week after that I actually have a couple new videos that are going to be releasing, so stay tuned for that.
I saw that you did some Infinite Warfare stuff, which is pretty cool. Like the like I like that you do the achievement stuff, like, you know what I mean, because there's some, I don't go to some of the achievement hunter guys or whatever, but yours are pretty, pretty good, right on point. So
sadly, I'm stopping them. So
I want to see that game developer sister tutorial.
Oh man, you're stopping the. Oh wow.
The achievements. Yeah. So. Wow, that just kind of took a bad turn.
Sorry.
I guess we'll see. We'll see. I guess it'll depend on the game. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I have going.
Okay. Hell. Hammer, I know you got absolutely nothing going on.
Yeah, pretty much. Just follow me on Twitter or Xbox Live, XXL Hammer.
Exactly. And Dealer, what do you got going on, bro? You're a busy guy.
Check me out at Dealer Gaming. Me and my buddy D-Batch, who's also in the comments, shout out. We just did a very comprehensive video on this whole sparse rendering, interpolated frame rates, everything you want to know, all details are in that video. And of course, subscribe there. Follow me on Xbox Live at ~II space capital Dealer space capital II. And once again, great podcast. Thanks for having me on.
That's a pretty complex gamer tag.
It is, and people think it's L's all the time, and I do not blame them. But it's I's, okay?
If only yours could be as easy as MOH Crapgamer, MOH space Crapgamer, right? Yeah. I mean, that's pretty simple.
I was gonna say GGB. I think that's the easiest.
I wish yours was that easy on Twitter, because when I always type in your thing, it like takes up so much because like Gamers Knows.
That's because some retard has freaking Gamers Knows Best who doesn't post on Twitter, and I wish Twitter would actually reuse all of theirs who like haven't done anything with their accounts for so many years. But
yeah, no, Sony, please. Name changes on PS4 would be fantastic. Just
that too.
I mean, I'm still
they couldn't handle the bandwidth on their servers. It'd fucking crash.
Yeah. They are looking into it. So yeah, hey, thanks for everybody for rocking out. Hit that like button, and we'll catch you guys next week. Make sure you subscribe to all these people. They do a hell of a job. We do this for you guys, man. It's entertainment, talking about Xbox and gaming and stuff. Yeah, exactly. So thank you guys very much. We'll catch you next week. Rack 'em up.